What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Pop, pop, boom, and station, everybody. I am Rockin Robbie Thrills. How is everybody doing? It's time for the monthly comic book review panel, but we're actually going to be covering 2 months yet again because, well, honestly, we've been slacking, but we're here to cover it all today. What are the best comics of August and September? Joining me, I have a fantastic panel of graphic gurus here, including the one and the only Manny's Different Perspectives.
Dude, I'm so excited to talk about like 27 weeks of comic books tonight. And I gotta say, you have the best show is starting live music ever. Every time it's on, I just cannot help but get my dance on. That is a dope song, my friend.
Well, thank you, and thank YouTube Studio. Speaking of YouTube Studio, it's Nick from Comic Culture. What is up, my man? Look at my shirt.
Station, nice shirt, dude. I'm so glad it worked out. I'm so glad I got to get to see you last weekend, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, and then I never saw you again. How did
I know?
I never ran into so many people again in that tiny little con.
Oh God, I know. I made about 2 different laps to try to find you again, and I had to bail out, man. I'm sorry, but I'm glad I got to catch up with you. Awesome. I'm glad we can connect on here. Yeah, we got a lot of books to talk about, man. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, we do. We also have joining us for the first time for the monthly panel is Brian with the B. What is up, my man?
Station. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me. I love talking about comic books, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, and yeah, with it being 2 months, there was it took a while to winnow it down, man. So
I don't know, man. I looked at it and I was like, most of those comics are shit anyway. So like, it's kind of easy for me.
How did you whittle down the 19 different Axe tie-ins we had over the last 2 months? How did you possibly get that down?
Speaking of Axe tie-ins tonight, Bearded Comic Bro comes to us sponsored by Axe Body Spray.
So. I was about to say, man, if I just was a middle school boy and had a can of Axe Body Spray, like, that'd be a perfect tie-in right there.
Oh,
yeah.
Manny, to answer your question, how do you avoid or get reading all those Axe comics? Just don't buy them.
Oh, I can't do that. It's completionist, man. No, I love though that Marvel has that synergy with the Axe Body Spray. They're just using way too fucking much of it. It might have been okay, but now they're just using way too much.
Yeah. All you need is one little spritz.
Yep.
Spritz and walk through, right? And they're just their buckets pouring all over the comic shops is what they're doing. Jennifer from Comics Will Break Your Heart will be joining us momentarily, but as we wait, let's go ahead and kick this show into gear. We will possibly be going into spoiler territory. So if we're talking about a book you don't want spoiled, you might just want to tune out for a moment, but it's not going to be that serious, y'all. Like, do y'all really care what's going on in Axe Judgment Day? But I know some people do, man. I'm not trying to...
Yeah, that's going to be the top of everybody's list, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I know it's the top of your list, you Marvel shill. But Manny, why don't you kick us off, man? Out of the 27 weeks that have happened since we've last done the show, what's your favorite comic?
Oh my goodness! All right, so you know what? I'm gonna go. I'll save. I was thinking I might go with One Bad Day of the Riddler, but I got a Batman fan in the corner. I might save that one for him. I'm gonna go with 20th Century Men issue number 1. Issue number 2 was really good too. Issue number 1 was better. Issue number 1 did a really great job of getting us into this world. Dennis Camp just I keep saying comparing it to Watchmen. That's not 100% fair. I know because it's its own thing, but it's like taking those classic characters, but from a different era, and then engineering them, retooling them for this different kind of alternative history. I absolutely love it. I love the juxtaposition of taking Iron Man and Captain America, 2 characters that are in the public consciousness because of Civil War in the MCU, as being 2 opposing forces. And I love this different take. The artwork is phenomenal. It's awesome. Issue 2 also a banger. However, issue 2 spends way too much time with the Iron Man character and not nearly enough time with the rest of them, but still a great issue.
I don't know. Issue 2 spends a lot of time with the old doctor dude, right?
That Egon stuff is dope. Yeah. That is a really cool interlude when that intersplices. But I didn't care about the Kharkov or whatever that's probably. Is that racist if I make fun of someone's name and make them to vodka because they're Russian? I don't know, but the guy.
I think right now in America, you're safe. again,
All right.
like you can talk shit about Russians. I think.
Yeah.
It's
Talk shit
fun.
about Russians again.
Well, that pig dog that they had to write the story. That's a horrible Russian accent. But that guy said that was just kind of boring. It didn't do enough to advance the world. I actually thought it was more interesting seeing, is it Peter Pavlov or whatever the hell, the Iron Man guy, seeing his interaction with the lady in Saudi Arabia was way more interesting than what we were getting with the Kharkov guy. But issue 1, total banger. I'm getting off topic. 20th Century Men, y'all need to be reading this mother. This is really good.
Another thing I like about part 2 is that Dennis is pretty much in it as the journalist.
Yeah,
that's pretty much Dennis Camp.
He's the reporter.
We called him out on that when, like, because we had read the first 2 when we had him on last. I was like, "Are you? Is that you?" He's like, "Yeah." If you remember, that was my profile picture for a while.
Well, so he wrote himself as the journalist. James Tynan decided to write himself into this week's Nightmare Country, and then Zdarsky is every character in public domain. We need to check some egos out there, writers. We need to check some egos.
You know, these people grew up reading Grant Morrison. Grant put himself or themselves in a lot of things, including
That's not fair though. Any Bond villain looks like Grant Morrison.
I don't remember. I don't remember if Dennis said that. I don't think that was Dennis's choice. I think he said that Morian did it. I think, but I could be wrong.
I think so. Yeah, Stepan, I think.
At least none of them have done it for a whole series of where like it's them as a main character in the whole series. You know, no one's done that yet. Donny Cates.
I was going to say that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does. 20th Century Men is one of my favorite books. It was definitely, I got a list of a bunch of books and I put stars at the ones that are potentially some of the best. And I got 20th Century Men 1 and 2 on there. I love the book. I think it's great. You pick up on those Watchmen vibes. So do I, because it's doing like this alternate take on like certain things from the 80s, right? Here dealing with the Afghanistan occupation of Russia and all that, or the Russian occupation of Afghanistan. I think I said that backwards, but like playing up with these ideas, like Captain America is now the president of this really like absurdly oppressive and free America, right? And then you got the Iron Man who's like in Russia, but it's this sad Soviet kind of thing. And Dennis is a big fan of like, what's his name? Dostoevsky and all that kind of shit. Like, he talks about the Russian literature a lot, right? And so seeing all of that, it gives me vibes of like Rick Veitch's The One, because in there they kind of play with the same idea, like America's got a superhero program, Russia's got a superhero program. It's in the 80s, it's in a different take, but in this one they put like Afghanistan right in the middle of it, and I love it. Anybody else reading that one?
Yeah, I read issue number 1. I have issue number 2 kind of stacked at the moment too, but I definitely felt those Watchmen vibes as well. I had to read it probably 2-3 times. I actually read it twice. I was skimming through it a third time to really kind of grasp the entire thing that was going on, because it was a little bit complex. There's a lot of stuff going on in that issue. It's definitely not, for me, a one and done kind of a book. I had to read it a couple different times. But I definitely enjoyed it. I can't wait to get to number 2. It just kind of got backlogged for a moment there. But yeah, crazy art too. It really shifts really from page to page too, which I thought was awesome. It felt like a whole new atmosphere, like every other page. It was kind of great.
Oh yeah, and that double page spread that's like all green with him. Like, oh my goodness, that looks so freaking cool. Now, Brian, I know you read it. You got the early peek.
Yeah, I did. I was gonna, from the first page where it has a helicopter kind of coming in and the blades, the sound effect on the blades just says fuck.
But yeah,
that was enough for me, right? But that was awesome, And then and I mean, I may not actually be a Marvel shill, but I think I am a Dennis Camp shill. Whatever he's gonna write, I'm in, man, because his stuff is so dense and so well researched and everything. It's just like it definitely warrants rereadings over and over again, So I mean, I've probably read Maxwell's Demons 5 times now, So yeah, I'm loving that book, and he also just finds some of the best artists for all his work. I mean, it's awesome.
We got 3 books out right now by 3 of the best artists working on current books. Like seriously, it's just amazing stuff. Bearded, have you have a chance to check this one out?
I have it on my to read pile. I actually wasn't privy to it, and I was doing an interview, and one of the creators and I were just talking, and he said this was one of his books on his pull list. So I was like, when I went and got my books this week, I added 1 and 2 because I was just like, I've heard nothing but good things since then, and everything that you all are talking about, I'm like, and it was on my list. I was like, I was trying to cram because I haven't read a comic in like a month and a half, and Rob was like, "You want to do a comic review show from the last 2 months?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I was like, I had like a stack of like, what am I gonna try and get to, and that's still gonna happen tomorrow. That one, so
Nice. It's definitely worth it, and like Nick was alluding to, it's definitely worth a reread because before we went live with Dennis this last time, I read it a few times because there's a lot there, right? And there's so much to unpack. There's so much information, but there's also a lot of like cool artistic innovation going on, and I find it very intriguing. So, all right, let's switch over to Nick. Comic culture. Why don't you culture us and tell us what your favorite is?
I think this is an appropriate book for the culture aspect of that. So thanks for that lead in there. We're going to talk about New Think. We had issue number 3, and we just had issue number 4 come out as well. We could touch on that one just a little bit because it just came out the other day. But this book, I'm telling you what, from Harwitz, this book is pretty much like, it gives me the same type of vibes that like Ice Cream Man does in a way. It finds something in our culture that's like deep and rooted and completely exposes it and makes you feel just icky about yourself in a way. You almost want to take a shower afterwards. But this one in particular, with this like Marilyn Monroe kind of cover on here, she's coming up out of a phone screen right here, kind of alluding to like just the need to have like social interaction all the time. There's some kind of something alluring to it. You're drawn to it. And I think that's like a perfect representation of what's going on here. But man, this issue in particular was really interesting just because it shows you how dependent we are on social media. The perspective, the narrative of this is really from the technology itself. And it's really kind of explaining how dependent humans are with their technology and how the technology is actually going to kind of be their medicine to feel everything they've ever wanted to feel just naturally. And so it's really fun to see how it kind of dismantles it. It introduces that problem, that need for like something in our life to kind of fulfill whatever we need to have it fulfilled. And the technology does that. And it's really kind of dark and twisted. And you can kind of see an evolution through the art style in here. Everything's kind of like sunshine and rainbows in the very beginning. People are taking selfies. There's lots of models. As the pages go on, though, every once in a while, you actually start seeing like terror in people's eyes. There's like this depression that kind of sneaks up. Whatever this technology is actually providing in their life is just not enough to like sustain it. And it's just really fun to see that. And it's actually really shocking too. This is one of those series where like every issue I read, I either have to like throw my phone away, I have to log off of whatever I'm doing, I have to just shut the screens down because it's just like, it's too real. Again, it's like Ice Cream Man, man. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And the artwork in here is crazy good too. Anybody reading this? And then, man, we haven't even talked about this next issue yet, but this one really was a kick in the teeth too on the last page. But who else is reading New Think?
I'm reading New Think. But I didn't realize 2 is the last one I got. So I didn't even know 3 and 4 were out.
Well, and continues that, yeah.
And, you know, but 2 was really good. But
2 was really good. 2, that was the storytelling one, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that was the
kind of
glass house.
Yeah, the cancel culture type one.
The cancel culture one, yeah.
Yeah, this, I mean, everything you're talking about, Nick, reading New Think has made me just go like, holy cow, I suck. Like, because of the idea of, like you said, of how dependent we are. And like, it gets to the point where like, it almost comes off like there's a whole page where it's like 50 Shades of Grey, like the way it's writing of like how we're in love with our phone and like this, it's almost like, what was that Joaquin Phoenix movie, Her? Like,
yeah,
those are the vibes that you get from that. And it's just this, it takes you through this process. And if you look at like a splash page, you would almost feel like it's impossible to read this, like know where to go. But for some odd reason, your eyes gravitate towards where it needs to go. And there is some parts where they direct it, which I thought was well done on the lettering. But man, you're right. Like, this is just where I'm like, I don't want to be on social media, my phone, TV, like, give me a typewriter. Like, I don't know. Like,
all right. I remember I read the first, is the third issue the one with like the Marilyn Monroe thing?
Yeah.
So I read the first 3, but like, I remember liking the first one and being kind of underwhelmed by 2. And I don't even remember 3. And then this week I was just like, I'm skipping it because I had a hefty stack because I didn't get a head start on my DC. But so I kind of fell out of it. But you're definitely selling us on it, Nick.
Dude, in issue 4, issue 4 is a whole nother thing, man. It's just like each issue kind of starts in a positive way too, or whatever the message is, whatever the theme of that issue is going to be, it kind of puts it in this positive light. And then it slowly like introduces this like cancer to it, and then by the end, you're just like, have this kind of like hopelessness almost in a way, or like this, at least anxiety that just builds and builds and builds. And it really follows that formula in issue number 4. It kind of talks about, how basically culture and humanity it's as good as it's ever been, like historically speaking, over a given enough time. It's as good as it's always been, but we always find something to complain about, and no one's satisfied. Everyone hates what they're doing right now. There's just something going on in your life.
It's because we're all watching She-Hulk.
Because we're all watching She-Hulk. Yeah. So, dude, it's an insane run so far. Every single issue is like haunting to me.
Cool.
So I'm loving new thing.
What is it? Is it 5 issue? I know AWA loves their 5 issues. Okay.
Yeah.
That means we'll be getting a trade soon, and definitely something maybe to check out. Sci-fi anthology, right? About our connection to technology and the dangers of it. Sounds like, what's that show? Black Mirror? Is that in that show?
Yeah, it has Black Mirror vibes for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Brian, it's time for you to tell us one of your favorite books from the last 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. I actually hadn't heard of that series, but that does sound really good. I'm not going to say it was like a Sophie's choice, but it was pretty difficult to choose between Shaolin Cowboy 4 or 5 as my favorite issue of the past 2 months. But I'm going to go with 4. If I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but if you've read a Shaolin Cowboy, they're not overly deep anyway. But he's the point of view for these 4 issues is from a Komodo dragon, and he's talking to his buddy about adventures that he went on with Shaolin Cowboy, because they see him in the street in this village and everything. And then in this one, he takes care of the big bad in the story from the Komodo dragon. And then can we talk spoilers on this, or?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Cause after that, then like this guy, like he meets up with the Komodo dragons, and he decides to go to their house and everything like that, and hang out with his whole family and everything. And it's like really touching. But on the way, this guy gives him a cake, and he brings it over, and it blows up and like kills pretty much everybody but him. And that was the biggest gut punch I'd read in 2 months. Like I remember grabbing my phone because I was going to call or text somebody, and I realized it was 11:30, and I didn't know if people wanted me to text them that late about Shaolin Cowboy. I just didn't know how it would be received. I mean, it's and if you haven't read Shaolin Cowboy, I mean, it was highly recommended, because like the art is just amazing. Every single panel is just,
put that up to the screen.
It's just like, overwhelming amount of detail. And then it's also Dave Stewart colors, right? I mean,
with like 8 assistants.
It is, but it makes sense. And,
have you ever seen that many assistants listed in a comic book for color system?
No,
there's like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let me blow that up.
If you look at
that. Yeah. Dave Stewart plus
flat colors, color flat assist.
But if you look at Darrow's
look at
art,
the line work, there's a lot to color. There's a lot of ground to cover.
There's a whole lot to color, and and a lot of it, seems like the kind of desert kind of stuff. But I mean, it, you get in the towns, there's a whole lot of variation, and it's real easy to spot everything. I mean, like these city scenes, and if you've seen Darrow action scenes, I mean, there's often like, he's fighting 15 people, in one panel and everything. So.
Issue 5's got that great thing with all the rednecks, all the racist rednecks that he's fighting, man. Oh my goodness.
Rednecks and neo-Nazis and it's I mean, there's like one where, because he has guns in that one, and there's a panel where he's pushed his hand through another guy to shoot a guy through him. You can actually see the gun sticking out through the guy's back. Yep. I mean, it's the most beautiful violence I've ever looked at in my life.
Yeah, so. I'm a big Darrow fan, and me and you, we're big fans of this book. I adore it. I think it's great. Issue 4, really, like when the big tragic death happens, I was like, because this is like a 7-issue series, I think, and I was like, man, I want more of just Shaolin Cowboy and this Komodo dragon. Like, I want more of that. And then it hit us with that. I was like, what are we gonna do now? And then the whole first half of issue 5. To be honest, I was kind of getting bored with it, because it was just these racist douchebags talking to their Hitler wannabe leader or whatever, right? But then the last part where Shaolin Cowboy just comes in and it's just vengeance, baby. Okay, that's cool. We literally do have an entire series where it's just one extended fight scene pretty much from Jeff Darrow. This is one of my favorite books. I think it's obviously definitely going to be on my top of the year.
Yeah, and he's got that one, he brings that hat back with the blade, that drops the basket with the blade.
Yeah, the flying guillotine, right?
Yeah, but he did it to that guy's hand so he could get his phone, so he could use his hand to text him.
But he had been talking shit to the dude who lost his finger. And so then the dude with the finger's like, how's that fucking feel, bro? I love it. I know you guys are reading it, Manny and Nick. What do y'all think?
It's usually one of my picks for this show. I freaking love it. I love the density of the artwork, all of the little details that are put in there. I think one of the cool things in issue 4, there's a scene where he's kind of on the side of the mountain right before he teaches the Komodo dragon all the kung fu stuff. And like on that scene, I don't know if this is foreshadowing or not, and if this offends you politically, it's the internet, man. Everything will. But it says Trump all over the mountain, and then we go into issue 5 with this kind of neo-Nazi type thing. You know what I mean? Like we get. So I think that there's like a lot of really clever foreshadowing, and you can get lost looking at some of the stuff going on. Like there's that in, I think it's 2 and 3, he's that car chase scene with the skeletons. That car has so much shit in it, you know what I mean? Like little tiny details to look at, little bumper stickers, and the radio station. They took the time to actually show which radio station it was like so much is condensed into this artwork, and it's so good. You talked about how a lot of it looks like deserts and things like that, but every little detail is colored. There's different shades in the rust. I mean, he needs a million different assistants because he's way overdoing it. It's so damn good though. So yeah, I love this series.
And to answer Spelio's question, you can read any Shaolin Cowboy book at any time. Like I would recommend starting at the start of a series, but you can read any miniseries in any order. There's no beginning. Right, like it just starts. Like if you started from the beginning, it just starts, and like you can read them in any order. I highly encourage you to do it. And we have our other guest here, so let's bring in Jennifer from Comics Will Break Your Heart Station.
Hello.
What's up?
How are y'all doing? What you were talking about, Shaolin Cowboy? Is that?
Yep.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Did you read that book?
Nope.
I think that's the only reason Robbie keeps inviting me on the show, because every time we do this, he's like, have you guys all read Shaolin Cowboy? You all bearded? No? Okay, cool. We'll bring you on next week and we'll make you feel bad for not reading it again. So
we'll work together.
So I'll get there eventually.
I have a deal going on with the managers and owners of your local comic shops, and I'm trying to like get you guys to read more of these books because I'm sure you guys don't read enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nick, I know you're reading Shaolin Cowboy. What do you think?
Dude, I'm loving this book. I had like a Crazy 88 vibe, like a Kill Bill vibe on that last issue when he's going through all the rednecks and stuff. It was so insane. But yeah, everything everyone said so far is like it's completely spot on. I have not read anything Shaolin Cowboy before this book. In fact, I was watching your review show, and this was, I think, the first issue was your pick of the week that particular week. I went right back to the shop and I picked it up, and I was like, oh, I can definitely tell why that's the pick of the week for sure. So I had no experience going in, and there has been no problem at all. So feel free to pick it up from here.
Yeah. And now you got to go get those trades, man. There's only 3.
I know.
Easy to get. Easy. Yeah. You're going to love it. Trust me.
I bet.
There's an entire 4-issue series where it's like him fighting zombies. That's like 4 issues of just him fighting zombies. It's so awesome.
Yeah, that's the Chef Buffet is volume 2. And I think you were telling me, Robbie, that he got feedback from that because there might be 10 words of dialogue, like a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, but there is no dialogue in the 90 to 100 pages in the middle there. And so then he went, the other direction. And because like you pick up the next volume and it's got the story so far and it's in font like this big and it's 3 pages of just sheer nonsense going on it. So I don't know. But there's only one tie I can think of, and that's the redneck neo-Nazis are in the 3rd volume. But I don't think you need to know what happened in that one because they kind of tell you pretty plainly. So,
and what's crazy is I just watched that movie Green Room. It has very much some of the same vibes I was picking up from this one, so it's pretty cool. There's nothing better than like blowing apart fucking racists and Nazis, right? I mean, it's just like it's like robots and ninjas and Nazis. You can just kill,
It's kind of the best.
slaughter.
That's how you get through the book.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Greg, what do you got? What's one you want to highlight?
Man, I'm nervous because I feel like every time I highlight a book, you guys just judge me and critique me. But
That's on you, brother. Come on, man.
I know.
It's a safe space.
No, it isn't. Not with Manny here.
That's true. To help you out.
I'm dipping my toe into the DC world. Shocker, but not what you would expect from me. Well, you will probably, because I'm a stand for anything Mark Russell writes.
And
me too.
Who had money on One Bad Day?
I know you did, and that would have been up there. But
No one deserves to have one bad day.
Space Age 2, and it could have been 1 or 2 could have made the cut, but I just read Space Age 2. Everything about this book, with Russell writing it, Allred on the colors and art, it's been fantastic. And for me to be like hyped for a Superman book, I don't think I've been that excited for a Superman book in a long time. And just the dialogue, the humanity. I think when I like a Superman story is when you get to the humanity aspect of Superman and that struggle and why he does what he does and the conversations that he has. Like there's a panel where he's talking with Lois in this book, and she's just like, why do you waste your time doing these stupid things like saving a cat from a tree or helping an old lady? And he just, as a way of saying, like, I just want to show people that there are people out there that care. And so that way, when no one's around doing that for them, they think someone might be out there for them. That's that Superman hope that you always go like, how does Superman instill hope into this society? And, he had these conversations with his dad in the first issue about like, not being a savior for the world. And it just is it's such a well-written story. And it's Mark Russell, I think, is killing it on this book. And I thought it was just going to be a straight Superman story from the get-go, but right off the bat, they introduced Batman and the rest of the Justice League, and even more so in this second story here. And it has been a fun ride through and through.
How much fun is it? Just Barry Allen's just like, what are you doing? I'm trying to disarm this bomb.
I have a bomb closet. Yeah. I have a bomb closet.
Yeah, I need to learn how to do this.
Because he's tired of running him away.
Yeah, right.
That's right. It's like it's so inefficient.
It almost feels like they're making fun of the 1960s Batman bomb stuff where Batman's just running with the bomb the whole time.
I think they ordered the ending of Dark Knight Rises, which is pretty much the same thing. Yeah. But you're never going to go wrong on my show picking a Mike and Laura Allred book. Like, I am such a fan of their work, have been since Madman days back in the day. I love their work so much. I didn't like issue 2 as much as 1, but I still loved it. I love this interpretation of the Justice League. It's kind of kooky. It's kind of fun. So it has that Allred flair, but it also has that Russell, like, satirical nature to it. And I really like it. And their Max Lord that's the Max Lord that dude should have played in Wonder Woman 84. Not this whole, I want to be the Dreamstone bullshit. Like, none of that, right? This is the Max Lord they needed. Who else read this one?
Oh, dude. It's so good. How many times did you all laugh when you read this one, when he kept on saying, what did he say? Like, I stopped an asteroid. Every time he said that, I was like, this is the kind of humor I need in this book. And it's a long book too. I didn't count the pages, whatever it is.
80 pages.
80 pages.
Yeah,
you can read this thing.
Close to 90 pages
Dude,
a book.
And how fast of a read is this? And you're like smiling and laughing the whole time. It was a lot of great humor. It reminds me of like a book that I think a lot of us were reading Venom, and then Lethal Protector came out, and Lethal Protector like saved me almost from Venom, because Venom's been kind of bad in my opinion. Then I read Lethal Protector. It's almost like we need this nostalgic, just more fun version of the character, and like this nails it, man. I absolutely love the first issue and the second issue. Great pick.
Yeah. I finished it last night, and I liked how it was also paralleling the Superman and Batman, because they were both like wondering, are they handling too small a problem? Should it be, how should I handle, do I need to handle big problems? And I thought that was really cool, kind of dichotomy, showing how they were handling both of their situations, for that kind of answering that same question. But also Allred's version of Brainiac, holy shit, that was dope.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was so good. So
I picked up I picked up issue 1, and I don't know why issue 2 kind of like flew under the radar for me, and I didn't pick it up, and that makes me really sad now. Because you're right, that like Russell Allred combo,
So good.
can't go wrong.
Yeah. And it just came out this week, so you should hopefully still be able to find it in the
There's,
mecca
like-
of comic shops that you live at, where there's one, like there's a coffee shop and a comic shop on every corner.
Every corner, yeah.
Yeah.
And a
Anybody
waffle
else
shop.
got thoughts on Space Age?
No, it's
Manny didn't read that one.
No, I did.
You reading too? Oh, you ain't got no thoughts on it.
No, I mean it was everything you guys said was good. I mean, the way Batman's neck looks kind of throws me for a loop, but that's like a nitpick. Other than that, I really like Green Arrow. Like one of the phrases I used today with my kid was "You're such a squish." Like I've never seen that phrase before, but Green Arrow calls Hal Jordan a squish, and I'm like, that's amazing. That's I need it in my life. So
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, man. But the neck thing is, it is a little weird. I'm like, already, that's how you going to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
He's wearing like hockey pads, and then he has like fucking Michelin tires on his neck.
I'm not the one dressed in Michelin tires. I remember that line from that movie. Jennifer, what's a book you want to highlight from the last couple months?
Oh, I don't know what, like, if any of these have already been picked. The one that I think is a little bit underrated. Okay, I'm just going to go with this one because you know that I love it. The series ended, and it's Swamp Thing. Issue number 16 came out. I just really love this series, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it. Like a lot of people talked about it at the beginning, but not enough now. And it ended, and it did that like Rom V, very introspected. I don't know, the character, Rom V gets Swamp Thing, and I love that.
Yeah, that was a fantastic run. 16 near perfect issues. Even when they had to have a forced tie-in because there was a Suicide Squad movie out, Rom made it work for the story.
And it was an event too, right? Like was it Fear State that was going on at the time?
There was something going on, and there was like a little crossover into it or something, but it still maintained the theme of what Swamp Thing was doing, right? And that's what I loved about it. And it felt the most like a classic Vertigo book out of any of the Black Label books for currently being published. This book was awesome. I just wish it could have been a 75 issue run.
Yes.
Yeah, like just give Swamp Thing an ongoing. But there's is there a book coming out in October, like a Swamp Thing? I don't know if it's like an anniversary or just horror book that's coming out, but there is something that's coming out this month.
And there's
Maybe it'll be the second issue of Green Hell finally.
Oh man, that would be great.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of hearing that question.
Yeah.
Like what's happening? I don't know, y'all.
I don't know.
Call Jeff Lemire. I don't know. Like, the other thing, what was I gonna say? I lost it. Anyway, the art was great in Swamp Thing as well.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I liked how he introduced Trinity and the other one, the mechanical realm of the mechanical
The Avatar
engineering
Parliament of Gears or whatever.
Parliament
Yeah.
of
Parliament of Gears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that stuff. That was like great how that was opposing, and then he the way he resolved that I thought was just brilliant. I mean, but it is Ron V, so that's kind of used to that with Ron V.
I remember what I was going to say. There's a Dark Crisis Greener Earth one shot coming out. It's going to focus in on Swamp Thing a little bit, and it's written by Rom, Alex, and Dan. So it's 3 of the 4 from White Noise. So that's pretty cool. And like Dan Waters would be a cool person to come in and take over that character, or even Alex Packnadell. And both of them seem to be happy at DC right now and getting more work. So we just all got to keep pushing and be like, yes, we want more Levi Swamp Thing, and we want it now. So
I love how seamless that entire run is too, with tying back to the first arc, because originally it was only so many issues, and then they extended it. And it still ends with that guy, the wanderer from the desert, you know what I mean, as an antagonist. So it all ties back together. I thought it didn't feel like he shifted gears and just told a totally different arc. It felt shifted gears. That's funny. But it all blended really well together. I think this Rom V guy's got a bright future ahead of him. I think he knows how to write a thing or two.
Even his bad stuff is still, or I don't want to say the bad stuff, but even the stuff that I don't necessarily love is just, it's so like Radio Apocalypse, I think has suffered a little bit from like being published on time and scheduling. Even though that's not my favorite, I still really, really enjoy it.
Yeah. No, Radio Apocalypse is great. You know, Rest in Peace is done. It's not coming back, unfortunately. But
so
no,
it did get canceled. Oh,
it's indefinitely on hiatus. So there's 2 more issues. It's a 4-issue series, man.
But it's okay. We can all say it. His Venom run is kind of ass. So it's okay. We can all say it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he's co-writing now with Al Ewing. And here's the thing is, I don't necessarily think his Venom run is necessary. Okay, Venom is his parts on Venom I like. Like if it was just about Dylan dealing with like this stuff and his like abandonment issues and all that kind of stuff, like I would be cool with that. All this space timey-wimey shit. And in the last issue, it's like, oh, they're all Venom in different points. Like that's the dumbest.
I don't want to hear it.
Like that's how you like blow a 13-year-old's mind. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't maybe like oh, he's the same guy. Holy cow! I never would have thought about that. And then Carnage, I think is well written, but just not like
the art.
Like what I'm like. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I don't want to see Carnage out there trying to like fight like dark elves in Asgard. Like they're so removed for me. Like I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't even mind that. It's just that the art is too shiny. It's too glossy. It's too clean. Like I think if we had a more, if
don't
we
get
had
me
an
started
art
on
style,
Marvel paper quality and coloring.
If we had an art style that like went into the darkness of a serial killer, you know, serial killer study that he's doing needs to be darker.
Could you imagine him doing Carnage as a psychological thriller with Martin Simmons on the artwork? Could you imagine that?
Ooh. I would almost want someone like Daniel Warren Johnson on something like that.
Well, Daniel Warren Johnson on Carnage, that would rock ass. I'm just gonna say that would be so awesome. Like it would be rock, it would be punk rock. That's what it'd be chaotic.
Yeah,
man. That's what I want.
Wow, and I would love it if granted, like I wouldn't mind Rom V just Rom V writing it, but if it was, I think Daniel Warren Johnson, if he did what he did with Beta Ray Bill and just like got to the core of this character, I would really enjoy.
Oh, man.
So I'm gonna write to Marvel. I'm gonna angrily tweet at them right now.
Yes, they really Daniel Warren, and then he's like, "Sorry, I got to do a Powerbomb money right now. I'm good right now.
Yeah,
I'm doing my own thing. I'm cool,
like I'm
man.
in DC playing with dinosaurs."
Yeah, right. He's like, I ain't even got to draw that one. Just wait till his cut of the toys will be insane. I bet, man. Depending on what the deal is.
I think Juan Gideon is doing most of the story on that one too. Like he's doing.
I think so.
Yeah. See, what's cool about that is that's like Johnson, like putting the spotlight on his buddy. And that's what I like. I mean, just like that's how Hickman got introduced to Marvels, because Bendis was like, I like this guy. I'm going to co-write a book with you, you know, and then Hickman was able to flourish after that. So that's always cool. When you
Juan
see
Gideon's art style is awesome. The one issue that they switched artists, I almost rioted. You know, it would have just been me, and I'm technically not terribly violent. I would have just stood on the corner and be like, but you know that almost happened. That almost happened because who replaced him for that issue damn near destroyed that series. That was so bad. Anyway,
any other thoughts on Swamp Thing before we move on?
That's what we're talking about. Yeah,
it's my favorite.
Good pick.
All right. I know. I sorely miss it. Yeah. And yes, Mark McGrath, who may or may not be the Mark McGrath who was the lead singer of Sugar Ray.
It is.
I'm just pretending like, okay.
Yeah.
I was in an Uber the other day, and I get in, and the dude's listening to satellite radio, and Mark McGrath is there, and he's talking, and I don't remember what he was talking about, but he was at the end of like a big long ramble about something. He goes, "But what do I know? I'm just the lead singer from Sugar Ray with frosted tips."
That's perfect.
And I just cracked up, man. All right, so the one I want to highlight is and I was looking at it, and I think this world is so unfair to people creating comics right now, because it's Ice Cream Man 32. Like once again, Ice Cream Man just killing it. How is this getting better? How is it getting better and better? How is this across all of like media, all of fiction, TV shows, movies, novels, comics, music, out of all art? I think the most accurate representation of the human experience is in the pages of Ice Cream Man every single, I was going to say month, but every other month or two, right? Like, so I freaking love it. And this one, is about this dude at rehab, 28 days program, right? Each day is a page. So you got 28 pages. So once again, it's kind of doing something interesting structurally, but it's also being very innovative in the way that it's telling this story. And it's layering in all these characters and ideas from previous issues. So reading it as a whole is a whole different experience, but just issue to issue. Some people say it's too depressing, too sad. I think it's just too brutally real sometimes. Like, I mean, and that's what it is. And I don't know what W. Maxwell Prince is going through. I hope he's okay. You know, we've heard from
but kind of not. The story is so good. Whatever trauma you're going through, thank you.
I just hope it's working, is what I'm saying, right? It's
like depression or drugs you're on, just keep going,
friends.
Man.
We know friends of his, and they say he's doing fine. You know, this is, you know, he's doing fine. This is his. But like so many times he puts himself into it, right? And so, like, so this is, you could say it's about recovery, it's about addiction, all that stuff. But to me, it's almost like the cyclical nature of it, where like you get this defeatist attitude where like sometimes you're like, well, I'll never be, I'm a piece of shit. I got this bug in the corner of my mind telling me these nasty things. I am never going to be able to get better. Right. And it's just that nonstop cycle. And there's something so magical to me about Ice Cream Man. And I don't think everybody keeps talking about, oh, they need to do this TV show. They never need to do anything. This is just such a perfect comic. They will never be able to translate what this does in any other media. I freaking right. Ice Cream Man's just, it's unfair to anybody else. Rom V, Dennis Camp, I'm sorry. Ice Cream Man exists. So y'all just fucked until that's over, man. Sorry.
I agree with you that I think that's the thing that makes it so beautiful is just how real that it gets. And even though it's a horror anthology, I think what makes it so scary is that Ice Cream Man itself is unafraid to go where other comics won't, right? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Just so good.
Yeah. Didn't that guy look like Chip Zdarsky?
That's what I was. That was my point. That's why I grabbed that specific image. I was like, what the hell is the comics industry trying to tell me about Chip Zdarsky? All right. He's obviously got gambling debt. He's a tattooist on the side. He's gaining weight. He's insecure about that. He's worried about what his properties are going to end up with. In crossover, he's crying, cuddling himself on the bed. This man, what are they trying to tell us? Everyone check on Chip. Hashtag check on Chip. Give him a call because I don't know, man. I don't know. This is...
Well, yeah.
Someone go check on Chip Zdarsky. Tell him. We just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, that page is... fantastic because isn't that the one where he goes and stands outside to get some sunlight and everything like that? But if you look that page you had up there, that's kind of the addiction experience, right? I mean, the whole thing is it starts off really bright and it just keeps getting darker as you're going down the page. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's a fabulous comic. And I'll admit, I've read the first 5 issues of Ice Cream Man, and then the way Robbie talked about 31 and that it's an anthology and don't need to read them all. I read that one. I've got them all. I just haven't taken the time to get into it. But I love 31, but I like this one. This one hit pretty close to home from some, experiences and everything like that. And I loved the shady part. When he was telling the names and then it shows them in the group and there's a guy that's a shadow, and then when you find out who it is, it was like, this issue hit hard. It's really good.
Yeah.
One of the things that you also mentioned, Robbie, is that there's so many, like in this particular issue, so many throwbacks to previous issues. Like one of the other people who's in rehab, they mention the characters from, is it the first issue that were doing heroin and like the cat? Is that?
Yeah, that's very early. It's in the first 4 somewhere around there.
It's in the first 4. And then the drug that he was taking, isn't that the drug that they were doing in the
trial experiment? Yeah.
The trial experiment one.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he's reading the book. He's reading the book by the guy.
And the bug in the corner was the same. I think it was the same bug that dude was tripping on, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so what I really want to stress is that there's so many throwbacks to these previous issues, but like, do not be intimidated by that. This series is on issue 30, 31, 32, because like you have to pick, like, if you like any type of horror, anything like that, I think anyone could pick up Ice Cream Man and just love it.
Yeah, I think that 100%. I remember I kept trying to get Jim Mint to read it, and he read and he just starts jumping in, and it like 32 made his pick of the week. He like messaged me. He's like, we got the same pick of the week, and I was like, because it's Ice Cream Man, bro. Like it's just There's nothing like it right now. And the use of the 9-panel grid is insane. And Martin Morazzo's artwork, oh my goodness, such a delicate line, so simple, but so much conveyed. And then Chris O'Halloran's sickly sweet coloring, so amazing, so amazing. Any other thoughts on Ice Cream Man, y'all?
No, it's just definitely a book that is just not afraid. It's just not afraid to go in there. You know, it like Jennifer's saying, it's just like it's no other comic is touching it like that. I mean, I think New Think is heading in that direction, but like Ice Cream Man, it's just nailing it, man. It's just digging up all those deep, dark secrets that everyone has and everyone thinks about, and all those addiction problems and everything that's messed up with your family and you internally. Puts them right out in the open, and it's startling, but it's a great book, man.
And what's cool though is when you read it, they are dark, they are depressing, they are filled with despair. But part of that human experience is that through suffering there is hope. Yeah. There is connection.
It's the Superman of horror.
Yeah, you could say that, right? Don't they even do that twisted version?
You like
of
Superman,
that,
you'll like Ice Cream Man.
Don't they do that twisted version of the All-Star Superman bit, like where the person's trying to kill themselves and this because they had that Superman issue? Didn't they do something like that in there? I don't remember. I don't know. Get the Sunday edition. The Sunday edition, the hardcover is amazing. They just need to go ahead and crank out volume 2 because they got it. You know it.
One of the things I think New Think and Ice Cream Man, because Nick brought up New Think again, is that they both like do a really good job of telling like not necessarily morality tales, but morality tales in a way that's like very much not preaching at you. You know what I mean? Like you go through an experience in those books rather than just getting told what you should think about from reading them. You follow the experience, and your empathy is what's giving you the message, which I really, really dig.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Good discussion. Round 2, everybody. Manny, what's another book you want to highlight?
Oh my goodness. All right.
We've already talked about some bangers, y'all.
I know it. Yeah. Let's go with.
We're going to run out, and I'm going to have to go with Exterminators or some shit.
So many good ones. There's so many good ones. I'm just going to take it. Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You can read this like 17 times because it's super short. It's really good pictures. But the story itself is so good. They do such a good job of setting up mood and tension. The atmosphere in this book is it's amazing. It was the same way in the Passageway. It's not like it's anything new. It's Lemire and Sorrentino doing their damn thing. It doesn't fill you in a lot about what happened, but there's something really cool about the not knowing, right? Some of the best parts of a horror film are before you see the monster, and I feel like Bone Orchard Mythos does such a good job of like building everything up without having to just show us. One of the things that I loved about this, one of the things that really stood out to me, was the way that the art style shifts between the present day and the flashbacks. It goes from that regular Sorrentino heavy contrast, almost minimalist, Mazzucchelli-esque type thing. It goes from that to like a regular comic book when it goes to the past. Like it's very, very clean line work, wide open, cartoony. And I loved the way that it did that. It was jarring enough that you noticed it, but also impactful in the way that it helped tell the story and keep you kind of on the path that they want you to be on. This darn team is amazing. And just a quick plug, if you don't watch the Comic Book Couples podcast, definitely should check that out, because Sorrentino and Lemire did an amazing interview where they talked about their processes going into the Bone Orchard Mythos and how well they work together. This book is everything I want in a horror comic and more. I absolutely love it.
I missed your fantastic point. What was it?
I don't know, dude. I just ramble. I gotta watch the rewinds on this to cut clips out because I don't know what I say.
Just comment down below in the rewind.
Let us know what Manny said, because we're still trying to figure out what he said.
David just being nice.
Somebody tell me he's on mute still.
Am I on mute?
No.
I'm all scared.
That's why you sounded great.
Oh my goodness.
I really liked the Bone Orchard, right? I keep trying to say the Boneyard Mythos, but it's the Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers. I love it. It's anything Sorrentino does is amazing. And you can tell, kind of like Primordial, this is more his baby. And Lemire is I think they work so well together that all of the stuff they do together now is kind of like Sorrentino's jam, and Jeff's there to be like, yeah, man, I'll be there. I'll do the script. You know, I'll throw in 10 words throughout the whole thing, you know, but make it work. And the moody atmosphere, the composition, the tone and feel that it evokes as a reading experience is something I truly love. And I'm excited to see where this is going to go and how all the stuff starts connecting, right? Or maybe it just never connects, but the promise is that it's all a shared universe, and I'm sure they'll be expanding some things out, right, y'all?
Yeah.
My favorite part about that book is how realistic it makes the characters feel in this universe as it sets it up. And I already really loved the book, but then I can't recall the two characters' names, but the one character goes over to the other one and is like, oh, look at all your books. You have all the Dune books. And as soon as they mention Dune in that, I'm like, sold. I love this. I love this so much.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
This is on my to read pile still. This is one that just didn't make the cut yet. So I'm excited to read it because you guys are selling it.
You can literally read it in 30 seconds if you want to.
Right now.
Quick.
Yeah.
We got shorted,
Well,
so I didn't get that one.
Yeah, I took a lot longer than 30 seconds, but that's how I normally do. And primarily, to me, like, this is an art-driven book. You know, I mean, on Sorrentino's art, you can just stare at, you know, and try to, try to figure out why he's doing these certain compositions and everything. And I thought it was a great first issue, though. I mean, it gave us enough to understand what the world is, and then, then at the end, it was like, oh yeah, I want to get the next one. You know, I mean, it was, I really, really enjoyed it. And just like kind of every time I get one of their books, I just think like how grateful I am that they were paired together on Green Arrow, you know, and then have just basically kept that partnership going.
Who's the editor that did that? That's one of the best things we got from the New 52 was this partnership, right?
Yeah, because that's a great run. If anybody hasn't read that one, that's a fantastic.
It actually is a really
comic
good
book
run. And also Green Arrow sucked until they came on and took it over. Like, it sucked, man. It was bad. And it's like they had a hit TV show and they just could not make it work, man. Yeah. And then they come in and they brought in Diggle and it wasn't dumb. Yeah. Like, it worked still. And I was like, this is good. Worked,
totally.
Yeah, and it works as a good like successor to, like, even if you've just read, say, like Andy Diggle and Jock on Green Arrow year one, or even if you've only read Longbow Hunters or something like that, it's like a next progressive step. I really liked it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm all in on this Bone Orchard. I keep wanting to call it Boneyard something too.
Yeah.
I just
every time.
Boneyard
every
Mythos.
damn time. All right, what did you got, Nick?
Oh man,
it's time for Nick at Night, baby.
Nick at Night. I know. I'm usually recording that right now. This is it. So soak it in. No, we talked about Daniel Warren Johnson earlier, and I'd be remiss not to bring this up. I know somebody's going to bring this up, but sorry to steal this one away. But we have Do a Powerbomb. We were blessed with 2 issues back to back. We had issue 3 and issue 4. I don't know which one's better. I'm just going to pick both of them. They're just amazing. And Mike Spicer on the art. First off, I mean, that is insane too. He's probably, or on the coloring rather. He's really, really good at the colors. We were talking about how on Shaolin Cowboy, how it took like a whole army of colorists to kind of color that in. Every Daniel Warren Johnson book that I've ever seen, I don't envy the colorist at all in here. And this is just another example of just a knockout series. We're really blessed with these really amazing wrestling books right now with Crimson Cage and Do a Powerbomb. And what was that? Hell is a Squared Circle. Or
Hell is a Square
that.
Circle. That Chris
so good. But
fantastic book.
Oh, it is really good. So we're really blessed with like 3 amazing wrestling books right now. But Do a Powerbomb is a really special one. It's a little bit, it's got like this like demonic element to it. But the basic premise for those not reading it is we have the kind of this legacy, this family that's kind of in the wrestling. There was a mom who is a superstar. She was actually killed in the ring, and it was in front of her daughter who like idolized her. She then grows up to on this like revenge mission. She trains to be a wrestler despite like the father's warnings. I won't get too spoilish about the whole dynamic and everything, but essentially she gets invited to like this Mortal Kombat type style wrestling event where it's a tag team tournament, basically in hell. There's all these dimensions kind of coming together and wrestling, competing against each other. And the winner gets a wish back. And of course, this girl idolizing her mother growing up, she wants to bring her mom back. So she's doing everything she possibly can to do that. The art, the storytelling, the heart in here it's just incredible. I love all the character designs. It's just really, really fun. I love everything about this book right now. And it's one of those books where it comes out and it's like the first book I read. I just cannot wait to turn the pages in this one.
I am such a fan of Daniel Warren Johnson. He's also a super cool dude. So that's always a bonus, right? When you meet these people and they're not complete dick bags, right? His art is dynamic, filled with energy, grit, and texture. And his stories are filled with texture. So it's got a cool concept that most people can just be like, that sounds badass. It's a fun ride. It's insane. It's violent. It's rambunctious and boisterous. But you mentioned heart. There is a core of heart in everything he does, whether it's Murder Falcon, whether it's Wonder Woman Dead Earth, whether it's Beta Ray Bill. This dude is one of the best working cartoonists out there in the mainstream right now. 100%. Any other thoughts? What do you think about doing Powerbomb, y'all?
If you don't get in your feels reading freaking Daniel Warren Johnson, like, you probably don't have feels, because the way he storytells, it's so fantastic. I remember I was excited for this book, Daniel Warren Johnson on a wrestling book, and then I heard kind of the hook, and I was like, oh, we're gonna dip into the supernatural thing. I don't know if I'm gonna like this as much now. And the way it's written is just, it's like, Rob, I think you said it was like, that's been violent and knocks you on your face, but then it hits you right in the feels. Like, that's just is how he does it. And that's been I think it's been his MO through, do a Powerbomb, Murder Falcon. And I think he's the king of hooks too, because I think again, without going, like Nick said, into spoilers or family dynamics, this has been one of those series where it's like the end panel, why would I not want to read that next issue instantly? And it's not I don't think they're cliche last panel reveals, which I think you can fall into that trap sometimes as a creator. And I just, man, so freaking good.
Another crazy thing about him, he's a hot artist right now. He's one of the tops in the game. He's being prolific. He's not doing just like one miniseries a year. He's like going from miniseries to miniseries. There's very little break in that workload. Like, he's doing it. He's doing the work. And that's what even more insane, because once somebody hits the certain level, they could just kind of take it easy for a little bit. They could Joe Mad it, and just kind of like dip out. But no, he's still putting the pencil to the page. You know what I'm saying? And I love it.
Yeah.
Slinging that ink, right?
Yeah. I'm loving this book too. And I haven't spent too much time with wrestling. I have watched some, especially after we interviewed John Lee's. So I watched some of that. What is it? The NJPW, the Japanese one. I watched some of those and actually talked to Daniel Warren Johnson at Heroes about that. And actually, because like in that first issue of Do a Powerbomb, he talks about kind of his how he got into wrestling, and it was because he was helping his wife with his kid, and that was an easy thing to put on, and just got wrapped up into it. But like everyone, everybody's talking about the heart and everything like that, and I totally agree, because like when I found out who he was, I went and grabbed Extremity and absolutely loved. That might still be my favorite work by him, but that just is, I don't know, it's a fantastic read. But I also think that he understands how to make things incredibly badass looking. Like he really gets and understands that core, because I saw him he was, I can't remember where it was, but he was talking about commissions, and he was trying to talk people out of giving him too much detail. And he was like, and if you're patient, I'm going to come up with something totally badass. And if you just look through his Instagram or Felix Comic Art and see the commissions he does, I mean, it's insane. And also, if you go to a con, make sure to grab one of those old man Skywalkers.
Yes. I still got to do the overhead view on that everybody wants to see, because it's so cool.
It's just
so
badass.
Cool. He did a Star Wars comic that's not licensed or approved, so he just gives it away. Like, you pay what you want at the shows, but it's awesome. It's like what Last Jedi really should have been. Like, it would have been. It's so badass, man.
Yeah, it's a donation too. He takes them, he puts the money towards, I think it's Heroes Initiative or something like that. But yeah,
nice.
But yeah, it's badass with heart. That's the way I think of it.
He's super cool dude, man. I never saw him without a smile, and he was even cool after hours. He was a super solid guy. So I was really impressed with him. Any other thoughts? Danny?
I just Danny Warren Johnson. I just love the watching is the Fridays with D-Dubs or whatever he does, where he's just sketching and talking to the chat. I love that because I love seeing how he creates. He's constantly just, it's almost like scribbling and then it becomes something. Like it's not like a planned out sketch. He's just and you feel that in his action sequence. Like he creates from energy. He's just, there's energy he's putting into the page, and that energy then takes form into something super badass. And I think that's why the elements of heart hit you so hard. It's like the best part of a roller coaster or one of them like drop towers, when you're falling and then all of a sudden you kind of stop and inertia catches up and all of a sudden your heart and your everything pops back up into your throat. That's where the heart is in things like Murder Falcon and Dual Powerbomb. You are running at breakneck speed through all of this energy and all of this action, and then you stop. And he hits you with reality. Absolutely. That's why it's so impactful. It hits so damn hard. It just punctuates all that action. I absolutely one of my favorite creators.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts? Good pick, Nick. He's one of the best, man. You get the energy of like early Image, but like the ability to kind of write a story that's more engrossing. You know what I'm saying? Youngblood kind of straightens out over 4 issues. I want to tell you that. Anyway, moving on. Brian, what you got?
Okay. So for the second one, chose Agent of World 2.
Okay.
Like I said on the show,
you stole my second one, but I'll allow it. It's fine.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
You want to pick another one?
No, go for it.
But earlier we were talking about Dennis Camp and how he picks, he manages to work with some amazing artists. This is Philia Bertukin's art. And we were talking about being hard on the colorist. We brought that up when we interviewed Dennis Camp because I shared the because I got the cover for number 3 for this series and shared a picture, and somebody commented, it was like, I bet he hates his colorist. And Jordy Word, it's Jason Wordy. He commented immediately. He's like, I love it, or something like that. And then Dennis said he's a glutton for punishment because I don't know if he has a staff, but
no, he does that shit with scraps in a fucking cave.
Yeah. Yep. It's like the Bertukin's style is a lot like Darrow and the the kind of European masters and stuff like that, with just all this great detail. And I did want to highlight this kind of double page spread across the top panel there with all the creatures and all that, with the 2 guys there. I don't know. It's just Dennis sent me an image of this way before he'd even talked about the book. And I remember staring at it for like 20 minutes. He sent, it's just, this is a great book. They're if you haven't read them, they're all kind of one and dones with a primary character that, you're kind of following him. But this one, I got kind of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas vibes from it, because they're kind of riding around and they're talking about like, they're going on a mission, but then they're talking about what kind of fun they can try to get into and all that stuff. And then plus the buddy of his in this one, each issue has him paired with somebody different. And the one he's paired with here has powers like where he can do his face in some specific contortion and like totally mess people up. And
he's mastered the so many thousand facial countenances or whatever.
Yeah. Wow. And it's super cool, man. And he's about to pull it on the main character. He's like, hey, put that face away, or don't point that thing at me.
Then it's got a twist at the end though, man, that really just
hits you hard.
Yeah. So but
it's one of my favorites. And the third issue comes out this upcoming Wednesday, I believe, and me and Brian have read it, and it's going to confuse some people, but it's fucking awesome, man. It might be. I think this is up for book of the year. Unfortunately, Ice Cream Man's existing, but Agent of the World is brilliant to me, man. Brilliant.
I'm not going to spoil 3, but I don't think you can understand it without rereading it. That's how good it is.
Yeah. Dennis does these books where he wants you to go back and reread, right? Like, I mean, that's what I love about Dennis's work. And Philia is the next big thing. When me and Brian were at Heroes, we're talking to all these people about the original artwork. We're talking about the James Herons, the Daniel Warren Johnsons. We're talking about all those dudes, the Nick Dragadas, the Nick Pateras. But then everybody's got Philia on the lips. Like, have you seen that dude's stuff? Go check out his stuff over at Inky Knuckles. And then that's when Brian got suckered into buying that issue 3 cover, which is amazing. And it's the original art's like the size of a comic book page. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't understand how you put that much detail without a size up, man.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you seen his? I saw an image of it because I think it's up for sale on Inky Knuckles. I think it went yesterday, but it's a cover he did, a variant cover he did for DC comic where he's got all the DC characters.
Yes.
Man, you got to check that out, man. It's so dope.
Yeah. This was such a great issue. I loved it. Tugged at my heart at the end. Dense, complex, filled with wild ideas, but once again, a core of heart. Anybody else reading it?
Oh yeah. It's similar to Shaolin Cowboy and the density of the artwork and just it's a beautiful book to look at. And the first time reading it through, there's it intersplices between the mission and then Phil at Home, which I was like not 100% sure like how that was gonna tie in, but then when the twist happens, it's like, oh, now I get it. This is emotional manipulation. God damn it, Dennis. I warned you that the next time you did this to me, I'm going to spend $4.99 on your next book. This was really damn good. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's again, just it definitely deserves to be up there with the books of the year for sure.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I actually picked it up because of Manny. Dropped issue 1, I think in August, was like, this is the best out there, you need to read it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it and give him a try. And but you were right.
Damn it.
Nice.
That
Rick,
influencer.
you're gonna make me like you one of these times, man.
Sometime I'm gonna get there. And
Well, I
when
just
he
want you
says
to
he
know-
likes me, someone can timestamp it.
You could be thankful
Clip it.
for me because I told Manny he had to read it 3 times before he actually did a video on it.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that he understood it. And I was like,
I also like how
this is
Chaos
heavy.
is giving me crap about Super Pro in the chat because I literally won a Super Pro graded card in an auction while I was on the show. So
Oh, that's super cool. Dude, I love
Nice.
Super Pro, man. I found a Super Pro number like 7 in a dollar bin. I was like, they made it up to 7? I was like,
12
I got to get on
issues.
top of this.
12.
I got to get on
12
top of it, man.
issues.
I got to get on top of it.
Kyle from Noggin Comics did a tale from the ugly chair where he talked about Super Pro, and that was the first thing I couldn't wait to tell him. Did you know Bearded really likes Super Pro? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Agent of World reminds me a lot of Super Pro.
I mean, I get it.
Lots of parallel. Yeah.
I really love that all of you really, really love this book. When I first read issue 1 when it came out, and I remember really liking it, even though I had no clue what the fuck was going on. I love the artwork. It feels very chaotic to me. But then when I asked you, I'm like, hey, like, what do I need to bring like for the show? And you're like, I think you need to read 20th Century Men and Agent of World. And so I picked up issue 1 again, and then I even picked up issue 2. And I reread issue 1, and I think my brain forgot everything because I was more confused after reading issue 1 again. And I haven't even gone back. I haven't even read issue 2. I feel like I need to read issue 1 several more times, and I need someone to explain what's going on. Like all of you have just said that this is a really good book, but none of you have explained what the fuck is actually happening in this book.
All right.
So
It's just a really good book.
So
really simple story, like right?
It has
Not a
heart.
simple
It has
story.
It's
heart.
hard.
A lot of heart.
Dense artwork.
The colorist is fantastic.
Colorist.
it's about a secret agent.
Ilya Badukin.
It's about a secret agent, right? For this organization called World, right? And they're out there trying to, I don't know, like what do you think, Brian? Like manipulate the flow of things, like the way things occur, like to nip certain scientific problems in the bud and stuff like that, right? Because they're talking about, is it the second issue where they're talking about the Russian science city? Is that in 2 or that's not in 3? Is it?
No, that's
Issue
in
1. Yeah.
That's in 1.
The
Okay.
Russian Science
Yep.
City is 1.
Okay, so they go and they have to stop this, right? And this dude's got all these robots, and then so he's got a jetpack that's fueled with Oregon energy, which is like sexual energy, right? And there's this thing you can look it up. Like this dude even like made this Oregon energy collector that it's this whole thing, and it involves like chaos magic and shit, right? So anyway, so his rocket is fueled by sexual energy, right?
Mhm.
Orgasmic energy, you can say that. It's Oregon energy. and he uses that to overwhelm the robots, and then they go into a robot orgy, and then that's what like gives them the ability to go in and stop the guy. So that's what this book is. It's crazy science concepts blended with all kinds of other things, but at the same time there's the side of it where the big reveal that you get at the end of one is that he has a family that the world doesn't
Fast
know
and
about.
Furious. It's about family.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where the heart comes in.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
I remember really like having no clue what was going on, but I did really like it. But anyways, thank you for the
That's my classic tagline. Like, I love this book and I have no idea.
and that was this book for me. I did pick up issue 2, so maybe I'll try to read this one a third time, and we'll see how many tries it takes me. But
yeah, I think it's worth it though, and that's cool. Like, it's a $5 comic, and what's like, at least you're not saying that you're not enjoying your reads. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it may be a challenge.
More money on stuff I hated, like actively hated.
Yeah, that you'll never go back to again.
Oh my gosh,
what I'm saying?
we kept picking up
Every
last
week.
book you'll ever read every freaking month.
I didn't pick up the last 2, man. I was
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
dropped that
fucking
one after
done,
3.
man. I'm done. I didn't even go meet Cullen Bunn this weekend because I just felt so bad for all the shit I was talking about that book. So I just
needed to complete. I needed to
He's a
complete
sweetie.
the bundle because I talked so much smack that I was like, I'm never gonna sell these one at a time. So I needed the bundle to just be able to have at shows to be like, buy this. So
That book had so many like really, really horny variant covers, and the book itself was like Ben Shapiro dry ass pussy type book. Like, it was kind of boring. Sorry.
It was.
I mean,
It was.
you're not wrong.
And then Vault really went shitty on the paper there. If you remember those last, they were so thin.
Yeah.
And just like,
They marveled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dry ass pussy energy. I
Dry-ass
like that.
paper.
I like that a lot. Dry ass paper. Oh yeah. He's got that dap.
Got that down.
all right, I'm adding it to the t-shirt list right now.
All right, Greg. Why don't you move us away from this robot orgy?
Well, I'm gonna put back the last book you'll ever read for my pick of the week.
We're gonna get the porn bots in now any second. Trust me.
Yeah. See, no X-Men.
So y'all mentioned Hell is a Squared Circle by Chris Condon, and I'm gonna go another Chris Condon book though. I'm gonna pull Rope-a-Dope. I'm gonna go back to that Texas Blood. I know a lot of people hopped off this series, but man, oh man, this arc that they're doing. This is, I believe, the third arc that they're on. Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips, and it has been, I think the more and more they get a new arc, I'm appreciating even more. So this one takes place of, you have a serial killer who's come to this small Texas town and is hunting them down, and they're trying to figure out, and I think the beauty of this is the pairing between Condon and Phillips, the storytelling and the art has just been so freaking good. And I know I've already lost half the panel because they're like, yeah, screw you. We don't like that Texas Blood. So, but I'm telling you what's I think the beauty of this series too is you're getting the detective aspect of, he's telling stories. He's at the end of his rope, but he's had a long life. And I think if they were doing these like sequential, like you'd be like, no way this happened to someone the entire time. And I think there's a beauty in it. They can tell as many stories in this world as they want to, because the dude's been on the force for so long that you're bound to have a crazy story of dealing with a cultist, dealing with, a townie that's messed up, and now dealing with a serial killer that they're bringing in the FBI aspect of it. And the colors that are done on this are just as beautiful, because it has such a beautiful slew of your blues and your reds and a lot of yellow tones. Like it's a brighter, softer book though. But when the serial killer, who has this just black mask on with like a creepy white smiley face on it, when those scenes pop up, the darkness, and there's some violent, there was a reenactment ceremony going on in this book basically, and where one of the sheriffs gets shot, and just a word splatter too that is there by the lettering. All in all, it's just been such a good book. I'm loving that Texas blood, and I if people hopped off, because I know like the first issue was kind of like it was going to go a supernatural route and it didn't, and I think people were like, I don't like that, and this has just been Condon and Phillips have been a great pairing.
Yeah, I remember reading, I think it was the first like 2 or 3, and you might be right. I think I was expecting one thing and then it kind of like switched a little bit. And did it take like a little bit of a break too, right? Wasn't it gone for like months and it just came back the other month, right? This is number 17. This is probably about 4 issues into this arc. Gotcha.
So
okay. Yeah.
Is that Phillips on art? Is that Jacob Phillips?
Yep, that's Jacob Phillips on art. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I need to check that one out. I haven't read any of that.
I read like the first 5 or 6, and then I fell out of it. But I keep hearing all this love, and then I loved Hell is a Squared Circle. I thought that was so freaking good. So, has it picked up any kind of a supernatural vibe and flavor?
No, and that's what it hasn't, and I think that's what people, I think when they hopped off of it, I think yeah. Well, Dominic just mentioned it. I think it's found its footing where I kind of mentioned it earlier of it's looking at Sheriff Joe Bob's life and being able to say, you've dealt with this situation, here's another story. So they can do so many different stories like that in that world. And so I think they've crafted the characters very well, that you care about Joe Bob, you care about the other sheriffs and the receptionist at the sheriff's station, that they can tell multiple crime stories. Like you had the townie fight you had in the first arc, which I think was probably the weaker of the arc. Then you had the cult in the second arc, and now you have the serial killer in the third arc. And so it's just been really interesting to see how they can do that, and their pairing's been great. I
remember initially feeling a very Coen Brothers kind of vibe with it, and then it just kind of lost me. But I hear so many good things about it from people in the chat, from people in the comments. Chris from Lost in Comics loves it, so I definitely think, especially on your word, I'm gonna have to go back and do a catch up and check out the book. I'm sure there's like 2 or 3 trades out now. So
yeah, I know they have to have the 2 trades out. They did a Christmas special issue, and then like I said, this is I think one more issue in this arc, and so that'll be another trade for you real quick.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm also one of those people. I didn't make it to issue 5, maybe like issue 2. I think I made it to. But the way that you describe some of this is it sounds to me like True Detective. Does it get in, like, because I feel like True Detective has this like supernatural element to it that it never actually ends up going to. Is that a fair comparison?
Yeah, I would say though the supernatural element is not there as much as you would want. I think there was that True Detective aspect of the supernatural element in the second arc when they dealt with the cult. It was a Hollywood cult basically that transported to Texas, so I felt that was kind of on the notes there too. But it was I think it hints at it in that arc, but this one it's just straight up. This third arc it's a serial killer that is coming and wreaking havoc, and it's kind of playing as a side story in this main story, because again, it's taking you through the world of Joe, the Sheriff Joe Bob and the people around it, and there's some of the political leveling up that the sheriffs are trying to do, and trying to voice how does he move up in his position and some of that stuff, and that plays into the role of also trying to hunt down a serial killer that he can't do it because, and some of that kind of small town politics aspect too.
Nice. Well, you just sold us, Greg. You're doing fine tonight, just so you know.
Yeah.
You sold us on a book I quit, and you picked an Allred book, so
there we go.
Yeah,
as good as it gets.
You're all good, man. It's all it's all gravy. Jennifer, what you got?
Okay, I don't know if this one was already talked about before I hopped on, but I love this series so much. I don't have issue 1 in front of me. I only have issue 2, but it was still really, really great. And that's Survival Street. Has anyone mentioned this book? Has anyone?
Not tonight. No. Nope.
Has anyone actually read it?
I've read them. I've read both of them. Yeah.
I've read both.
This book is so much fun. If you had told me that there is this like post-apocalyptic, extreme surviving capitalism book, but told with Muppets, I would be like, that sounds amazing. Give it to me. Did we ask for this? Okay. It's so good. I love this book so much. I went to Rose City Comic Con earlier this month, and the two writers did a panel just about kind of the relationship about working with artists. And they mentioned how they found the artist who is from Pakistan, I believe. And they were like, we really like his artwork, but can you do Muppets? And so the way that they found him was basically through Twitter. Anyways, it's goofy. I really love this book so much.
That art
It's
looks
it's
killer.
an interesting book. So like the premise is like what, like corporations now can vote. They're considered people. They can vote. They have sway. All this kind of stuff. So they close down. Everything gets privatized. They close down all public funding to all public services, including PBS, public broadcasting. And the Muppets are out of work, so they become these revolutionaries. And it's a ridiculous kind of concept. And there's something to me, there was something just missing on it. I don't know. And I felt really bad about this because James Asmus is the writer on this one, right?
James and Jim Fistanti.
Okay.
They're two writers on it, yeah.
So I did my weekly review, and I was like, I really like it, but it just didn't completely sell me. And then I get online or I check my phone. I got a direct message from James on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey man, I hope you like my new book."
You're like, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man," I just felt bad. I didn't even respond to him. That's how much of a coward I am. Anyway,
well, he's watching right now, and you have at least one fan of this book. I really enjoy this.
Too. Greg likes it.
I like it. I mean, you have to go in with it like, it's Muppets that are disenfranchised and now are trying to start a revolution. And if you can get behind that plot, I think it's, it hits a lot of stuff on the head, because in the second issue, they have Hollow Point Town or whatever, and where duels are legal again, and everyone has an open concealed carry, like, and this idea that they're trying to, take out these bad corporations. And I think the Muppet aspect of it makes it work for me, that it'd be a tougher sell if that obscure element wasn't there, because then I feel like it'd be trying to be too on the nose, in this day and age of stuff. And so I really dig that aspect of it.
I think that not that I personally ever mind books that are like quote unquote preachy, but I think that because it has Muppets, it doesn't feel like it's preachy. Right. It definitely feels like it's parroting. I don't know. But I went into this and I'm like, this should be a Mark Russell book, but it's not, obviously, because it's smart and it's goofy and it's fun and it doesn't take itself serious. But
I do remember liking issue 2 a little bit, like getting more into it. So it's definitely something I'm going to stick with. I think it's a worth it comic because it's doing something different and the artwork is really good. It is. The artwork's kind of like, it's almost like it's very like Sean Gordon Murphy-esque, I think, in a way, as far as the draftsmanships of it go. It has like this kind of like that kind of grit to it, but I don't know. It does, and you can tell like, okay, so that's Super Grover. Like you can just tell exactly who these people are supposed to be, and it's pretty fun. Anybody else reading this?
No, I hear you talk about it on the weekly comic book review on my way into work, so I never write it down. So thank you for now. It's typed in because I'm like, that sounds interesting. It sounds like something I could get behind. I like the idea of Muppets because it feels like, as we grow more into consumerism, we let go of our intellectualism, and that's kind of the Muppets are about teaching and educating. And I think there's something really cool under the surface about that. So thank you for bringing it up because now it's on the list.
Go ahead.
I think this is going to be one of those books that we like look back at 20 years from now, and it's still going to be relevant, at least with the issues that it's bringing up in this book. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. Yeah, no, you definitely sold me on this book. I actually didn't even see this one on the shelves or know anything about it until you just.
Do you even read? I mean, do you even watch my weekly comic book review, Brian? You say you do, but you don't.
Every week?
You
Not
skip
every
through
week,
shit.
no.
You skip through shit, man.
No, I start timestamping it for the books I'm already interested in.
You should timestamp it for everybody else because they keep telling me to do that, and I don't want to.
No, I just do it for myself. No, but if you know, when you tell me that the main villains are corporations, then I'm all in. You know, I mean that's as real as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if only they were like robot ninja zombies.
That'll be
Nazis,
issue 3.
That'd be even better. So
Yeah, that's issue 3, right? Yeah.
yeah, okay, I hope so.
No,
And
I'm sold.
co-writer James Asmus is doing a really great job right now on the Bill and Ted books from Opus, which are I don't know how they got the license, but they are really good. I'm just saying,
they're fun.
they're
Yeah.
really good. Bill and Ted Roll the Dice was great. I'm really awaiting the Death one shot. That's going to be $6.66. I'm cool with that price. I'm cool with that. I'm
course.
going to be like, no discount.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's part of the experience, right?
Yeah. All right. So it's my turn. Okay. Well, I was going to go Agent of World or 20th Century Men. Y'all took that. And I could replace it with another Dennis Camp book, but we'll save that. So I'll actually go with a Marvel book because, you know, I like Marvel. And my favorite Marvel book of this, I love this book. And it's actually not even published by Marvel, but Fantastic Four Full Circle by Alex Ross. It's like a 60-page graphic novel hardcover special. Hard to find right now at this moment, but there are more on the way. They've rushed into a second printing because Abrams Arts knows what the fuck they're doing. And when they see demand, they try to meet it, right? And they try to meet it quickly. So there are more that are going to start flooding your comic shops and stuff. It's great. It is kind of like a sequel to This Man, This Monster, which is Fantastic Four number 51. Many argue not just the greatest issue of Kirby's Fantastic Four, but maybe one of the greatest issues of Fantastic Four, maybe one of the greatest issues of comic books, period. Definitely at least superhero comics. It's that big of a deal. So it's kind of like playing on a sequel to that, but it's Alex Ross doing something different. He's doing pencils and inks, and he's coloring it himself. Like, right? Like he's doing his own colors, but they're really interesting choices that he makes, and they're amazing choices. I should have grabbed the hardcover to show you guys. I can grab one on a break here. If anybody's got one, you can show it. But the artwork is amazing. Color choices are great. It's Alex Ross artwork, but it looks different than anything else. It feels classic. It feels fresh. It feels hip. And the entire quality of the book is just so supremo, top notch. It's the best Marvel product I've read since Hulk Grand Design, and it wasn't even published by Marvel. So I loved it. Anybody else get a chance to read this one?
I did not. I
No.
did not.
I'm waiting on my copy to come in.
I saw it at Microcon this last weekend, and I was like, Robbie is digging on this book. And then that was as far as it went, because I think it was like $39, and I was like, if I push my luck with this, then I'm not getting anything else.
The cover is $25 right now. People are trying to gouge it. Now there's a slipcase edition that was like $45, but people are trying to gouge the price right now because everybody's talking about how good it is, and it's hard to find. Oh, there's some artwork from it. Not really the best pick, but okay.
No, sorry.
No, it's fine.
That's dope though. Look at that.
No,
Oh
it
my
is. It is.
goodness.
Okay, hold on. Jesus.
Gosh, goodness.
Yeah, look at
gracious.
that. Look at that thing right there.
Yeah,
Oh my
fantastic.
goodness.
So he actually had like little models made up of all of the Fantastic Four so he could light them right. This was a pitch that he gave Marvel a few years ago, and they said no. And so somehow he's got it made here. It's great though. It works as a total Fantastic Four stories. All the characterizations are perfect. They are on the nose. It reads exactly like a classic Kirby Fantastic Four, but it feels new and cool. It's amazing. Manny, why don't you go on to the next?
Boom. So we're on sleeper. We're on sleeper pick.
And I'm going to go grab, or are we? Yeah, the third round. Okay, now we're getting to the sleeper picks.
Sleepers.
I'm going to go grab that book real quick. So I will like be showing that off. And Holshoe says PCP Horror Fest shirts are now up on the PCP merch store. Hell yeah. Here we are halfway through Horror Fest. We got the Horror Fest shirt. Yeah, I need to get one, man.
I
We're gonna get
love
it
how
before the
someone in
finale.
the chat was like, you guys are all trying to out obscure each other, and we haven't even gotten to the what you
obscure
think
stuff.
you're missing, which
I
is
know.
supposed to be our obscure pick. So
I
like,
know. This is what I
because
love.
I
Like,
doubt someone's gonna be like, I think you're missing out on a Marvel book or a Batman.
Yeah, we're talking about
I don't
DC, Image.
we've talked about, we've had a nice sprawl across the
We have.
company. So
We have,
this is
yeah.
the sleeper pick round.
good. It's
Something
gonna
that
get
you
weird.
probably have never heard of. Something that's new that you think really needs the spotlight on it. Manny, we're going to kick it off with you.
All right. Well, You know what? God, I got like 4 of them here, and now you guys are forcing me to choose. I should have come into the show a little later because he puts us in order. I should have waited till Nick came up, so you could have picked one of these probably for me.
Yeah, I'm
gonna
ready to
go.
go. Come on,
Shit, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Above Snakes. Above Snakes, I think Sean Lewis is doing great work there. I like the amount of heart that's interjected. Issue 3, I'm gonna go issue 2 as my pick of the week, pick out of the 2. Issue 3, it got weird for a strange reason. I don't know why. Like issue 2 was setting up like the idea of this guy who's on a revenge mission, and he couldn't be happy. Like he couldn't settle down and find a new gal because he's trying to avenge his dead wife. Like that's a hell of an albatross to hang around your neck. But in issue 2, Speck, this like spectral bird that he's with, was like giving us some real ominous stuff, like that blood is mine, that vengeance is mine. It seemed like he was trying to
Talking about Above Snakes.
Hell
yeah.
Seemed like he was trying to sabotage this, but then issue 3 he became Michigan J fucking Frog for some reason, and he's like got a top hat and he's singing songs. He's trying to sleep with this giant owl or whatever.
He's trying to get out there, man. He's trying to dress up.
It was weird. It
was
a weird turn for it to take. It still had the character moments, which I think are like the strength. Aside from Hayden Sherman's amazing artwork in this, the cool colors and stuff he's using is very unexpected for this type of book. But aside from that, the character and the way that Dirt and Speck interact, so all of that was still there. It was just really, really weird. It was like Sean Lewis is like, I have to introduce a new character, and I need 1 page to do it. And they were like, you have to do 20 pages. He's like, well, I only need 1. Can I add a page to issue 2? And they're like, you need to do 20 pages. And so then they just decided, all right, well, what if Dirt is buck naked at a waterfall for like the first 5 pages, and then the bird's gonna try to go on a booty call, and then that's pretty much all that happens in this 3rd issue. But issue 2 was phenomenal. I'm not doing the greatest job selling this book, but definitely check it out. Sean Lewis is
issue 2 is like a nice date night, right? Like really good stuff.
Yeah,
Above Snakes is amazing. Real quick, I got the book in front of me.
Oh, nice.
So just first of all, just look at the opening pages, like just the design on that, right? So you're gonna see so he's doing line work, right? He's not painting. What he's doing is there's that page you showed right there. Actually, let me blow me up real quick. So he's doing inks and he's doing pencil shading, and he is choosing the colors. But I think it's Jonathan somebody who's doing the coloring, the digital coloring. It's Josh Johnson. This book is amazing, y'all. Look at that.
I also like how Robbie made fun of Manny for picking that page, and that was the first page you showed.
Look at that, y'all.
Oh,
yeah,
that is a dope page.
I love that one, man.
That artwork reminds me a lot of Alexis Zirit.
Yes, the coloring there for sure.
Coloring,
that black light stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually mentioned that on the kayfabe video. They're like, he's using that Zirit color palette there.
Yeah.
And then Jim Rugg's like, he should have made that black light reflective. And it's like, come on, man. We know you made the black light comic. Not everybody can. No, it's a really good one.
My shops, I feel like I've seen that at my shop. So even though we've talked about this before, even though I love Jack Kirby, I hate Fantastic Four, but I feel like that artwork is enough for me to get into it.
I still respect you. Even though you said you hate the Fantastic
Four.
Literally my
even if you like decorum.
Okay, fair enough. Touche. Above Snakes is great though. Above Snakes is amazing. Hayden Sherman, they are a force to be reckoned with. What, 4 books right now? 4 books right now. What the hell? It's not fair to anybody else. The output from this individual, Hayden, is a beast. I fucking love their work so much. Anybody else reading Above Snakes? Good pick, man.
I'm behind on it, but I am.
I read issue 1, but I haven't read 2 or 3 yet. But I got them on my pile.
Issue 2 is really, really good. And like Manny was saying, it's like a date night gone bad almost. You know, he's on this revenge mission, but he has that, someone kind of gives him this look, right? And he's like, okay, maybe I can have a little bit of happiness in my life. Maybe I can kind of put my revenge mission on the side a little bit. But then he sobers up pretty quickly because she's got her own motives as well.
Yeah.
And she's on her own little revenge path, you know. And then I love the very end of him and his like that ghost bird are like, well, I guess we can get started now. You know, now that nonsense is over, that side mission's over, because she's completely twisted now, and he's just like sobered completely. So it's fun. It's a fun book.
The last 2 pages of issue 3 are also worth it. So you have 1 page in the middle where they introduce a new character, and then the last 2 pages were like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. It's just everything in between is just like, damn.
Yeah,
I love it so much, man.
I
Like,
liked it.
each real quick, Brian, so like each issue so far, so it's about his journey of vengeance, but he's being reminded by all the people that he comes across that they're also on their paths of vengeance. There is no happy ending for any of these stories, right? And that's something that's put on there. That's why he's got like this facade of death that goes around with him almost, right? Like, you're a dead man from this point forward. Once you have chosen a path of vengeance, your life is over. You've traded it for this, right? And even when you reach your goal and you kill every member of this Above Snakes gang, what's your point then? Like, and I love that they're doing that. Plus, one of the pretty much the cover of the year right now for me is the Hassan Osman El How cover, where they let the letterer have a cover. There you go, Brian.
Oh, I haven't seen it in the wild.
It's so good, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked issue 3 too, because I don't know, that weird stuff I like. You know, I mean, it's just like I was cracking up the whole time, and then it, you know, and I like what it's setting up too. I like, you know, I'm really looking forward to the, you know, next couple issues there. But yeah, I know we can't say enough about Hayden Sherman's art either. I mean, you know, it's just mind-boggling how productive they are. I mean, you said there were 4 books. I know there's 3. What else is?
The other one is they're setting up the Gotham Academy or whatever it is, or something like that in Urban Legends right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see something about that.
Then there's Blink with Sabella.
Blink.
Yeah.
And
this Dark Spaces
Wildfire.
Yeah. This latest issue of Blink almost made that too. I don't know. I really dug that one. But,
and actually coloring Above Snakes as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
Like not just doing the line work, but like coloring it as well. Not coloring the other, but whoever's coloring Hayden on Wildfire is freaking amazing. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And they're all different styles. All these books are different styles. Holy man. And plus everybody needs to check out the Wasted Space Kickstarter for the Omnibus right now. Go do that.
Yeah,
do me a favor.
definitely.
Come on.
Yeah. But I do want to, we can't pass up on the lettering on this too, in this series. Cause like
some of Haas's
Haas
best
has always been really good, but like he's like killing it on this. I mean, he's adding effects in. I'm not saying the sound effects, but he's adding effects into the balloons and everything like that. It's just so, I don't know, just hits that much harder. You know,
it's super dynamic. He changes line weights constantly, fonts for all the different characters. I mean, that's all lettering 101, but he's doing it in a way that is never jarring and never feels like he's doing it to draw attention to the lettering. It just helps to tell the story. He does such a good job with that.
He loves to experiment. He likes he does hand drawn like sound effects. He really likes to do that. Isn't this the one, Brian, where he has the lettering reflected in a surface of something? Is that this one? Is that Above Snakes, where there was something like in the first issue, maybe, where the lettering's like reflected in something? Where it could be another one that he's doing. I don't know.
I think that might have been another one. But he's the one that it wasn't this, but like, yeah, he was. There was like a hologram character, and it was all translucent every time they were talking. You know, like you could see all the background. So that I don't know. But the last page of that first issue, you know, he keeps talking about blood, and he's got like, you know, little blood spatters in each balloon, and it's getting progressively worse as it's going down, you know, I don't know. It's very well thought out.
Yes. All right. Nick, it's time for your obscure. Try to out obscure Manny here.
Oh, I got it.
What's your sleeper hit?
Anybody can pull an Image book out. That's not obscure.
Shots fired.
No. I did an
Show us Berserker. Go ahead.
Berserker. I'm going to go Batman. Yeah. No. So I did an AWA book before. I'm going to continue the AWA train because I'm actually a big fan of a lot of things that they're doing right now. And this one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Sacrament. We had issue number 1 and issue number 2.
You got to sell me on this, man. I wasn't completely sold on 1. I didn't come back for 2.
Peter Milligan, admittedly a writer that I'm a little bit lukewarm on from time to time. I haven't read a whole lot, but like this book, and he has another book out right now. It's just escaping me at the moment. But Sacrament number, I think, was it Absolution from AWA? I think he's also writing.
Yeah, he's doing that one too.
But Sacrament's a hell of a book, man. It's actually like this futuristic landscape. It has like some religious aspects to it. There's like exorcisms in there. There's people that are possessed. We follow this priest who's kind of fallen right now. He's kind of going through the motions. They touch on what the future of like religion might look like when we've colonized the different areas, and there's like, you know, interplanetary travel and things like that. And so he was initially part of this exorcism that really went really bad. The guy that he was like looking up to, his mentor, was actually killed in this exorcism, and he's kind of, you know, fallen off the path ever since. And so he's actually kind of brought back into like the exorcism scene by this corporation. They have this problem going on right now, and he's really having this like crisis of faith. He's like, do I actually possess the ability to perform this action? They put him in a really tough situation. It's really like a gut-wrenching book, but it's just so well done, man. I'm just really digging it. You know, it's violent. Yeah, it's just really well done. Anybody else reading?
It's like The Exorcist in space, right? That's the way. That's the elevator pitch.
It's The Exorcism in space, exactly.
I at first issue 1 kind of threw me off because I'm like, as a very like not religious, almost like anti-religious type person, this book and the religious overtones, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this book and really enjoy it. But the way that it's written and the way that it really gets to this character that is having that like that crisis of faith, it's really, really good. And it I wouldn't even say like, I don't want to say Exorcist in space, even though it is. There was a movie with Johnny Depp from maybe the early 2000s where he has to go investigate like spiritual things. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
The Ninth Gate?
The Ninth Gate. It reminds me of the Ninth Gate.
The book guy? Where he's like the book guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's what it reminds me. I would say more than The Exorcist. That's what it reminds me of, because it feels like there's moments where he's going in and like investigating and he's trying to figure out like, are these things real or are they not? And then he's being given like either messages or ideologies that they are real. So it's playing with him, and I really like this book as well.
So is there demon sex in Sacrament as well then? Like Ninth Gate? Is this like I could have some.
No,
I'm all down
yet.
for a hot Johnny Depp demon sex. I'm just gonna say, okay.
Not yet, but it's just
Okay.
it's fun to live in this guy's mind a little bit because, like Jennifer was saying, he's fallen. You know, he has a big crisis of faith right now, and people are relying on him and threatening the people around him, the people that he cares about. That's an interesting relationship with this girl that's kind of like she's very much involved in her religious beliefs right now, and so he's trying to battle with that relationship as well because he's kind of playing the role right now, and it's just really fun. It's actually a really good book. I recommend that one.
I'll have to carve out the time to get caught up because I do like Pete Milligan, and he's the kind of almost the forgotten member of the British invasion that happened in comics in the 80s and 90s. A lot of people, he had some great Vertigo work. Everybody talks about Sandman, the Invisibles, and all that stuff, but his work on Shade, the Changing Man, was freaking phenomenal. And then didn't he do that book Enigma with Duncan Fegredo, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good stuff there too. So he is on that level of the Game and the Moore and the Ennis and the Ellis and the Game. I already said Gaiman, Morrison, all that, right? So definitely worth a try. And he's done a lot of work recently, which is weird. All of a sudden he's come back. He did Out of Body at Aftershock. That was pretty good. I remember that one. About the psychedelic drug experiments, and you remember that one? I like that one.
Yeah, that one had a good.
And this,
that
I
had
know
a good
this
issue.
panel's a big fan of Dogs of London. You guys were all big fans of that one.
We weren't.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that.
Did he do Human? Wait, did he, Human
Remains?
Human
Yeah,
Remains.
Remains?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It kind of, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit.
Got,
I don't.
got
It was
weird.
Yeah,
It was up and down.
Yeah, comics
up and
aren't
down.
supposed to be fun. They're
Probably-
supposed to break your heart. I love that. Was somebody going to say something? Brian, I thought you said Robbie. No,
No.
I'm hearing shit. Did he just say making fuck? Brian, what do you got for sleeper pick of the 2 months?
Okay. I didn't know. I'm probably going to fail the criteria. on sleeper pick. But from a personal perspective, this is a sleeper pick because I feel like I'm the only person still reading this book. It's a Deadly Class. I never really hear anybody talking about it, and it's my favorite Rick Remender book. There are some of his books I haven't really liked, but this one I really like, and probably one of the major reasons is Wes Craig's art on this is it's just, I don't know, it's so intense and just so awesome. But this is the penultimate issue, so the next issue is the big finale. This, if you've read the series, it starts off in the mid '80s. And this last book, A Fond Farewell, has been leaping forward in time in huge chunks. And this issue takes place in 2020. And it has to tell you that, it has the picture of George Floyd, in there. And so this issue only really has 2 scenes. A typical comic has 4 to 6 scenes or whatever. This one only has 2. And it's the main character, Marcus, with his wife, Maria. And he's a successful writer. And
they're married now?
Writing. Yeah.
Spoilers, bruh. Jesus.
It's issue 55. But yeah, so he's a successful writer and they're writing out the pandemic. And but he's just a constant stress case because of the George Floyd riots, we all lived through the 2020, and so it's basically a long conversation between him and her. And she's saying, you're worrying too much about this. You're feeding too much into the media, the way they're telling everything, because, one of the points she makes is anybody in this country making over 35,000 is in the top 1% of the whole world. She starts providing a counterpoint for all these things that you're hearing about all the time. And so I thought it was pretty good, for pretty good rundown of those things. And then the second half deals with Saya and all that. And then it I won't spoil this one, but yeah, pretty much the end just perfectly sets up the final confrontation between all the characters from the beginning. And I don't know, I absolutely love this book, and I just never hear anybody talking about it. So I don't know if that counts as a sleeper.
I stopped reading it. So when they had a moment where they killed off some main characters, and then they introduced a new cast of characters, and then they brought some of those other characters they killed off back. And that's when I kind of fell off of it. But it's just because Rick Remender stuff to me is hard for me to follow issue to issue for some reason. But Deadly Class was one of my favorites when I was keeping up with it. I just kind of fell out of it. I think Diamond shorted us 2 in a row, and I just never got caught back up. But it is because it's about to wrap up. It's got another issue or 2, I think. And I'm excited to see to dive into it after the fact, I guess.
Yeah, it's just got the one more issue. And then Wes Craig's new other series, Kaya, comes out next month.
Wes Craig's artwork is amazing in this whole book, man. It's interesting to know that they've gone all the way up to modern day. So that's interesting. So what's up, John? How you doing, buddy? Long time no see, man.
The previous issue also would have made this one because that actually it got meta, because I don't know, this one had a TV show that was canceled pretty quick, but he actually talks about he puts it in the frame of the character being a writer, but he goes on this whole spiel about how he was sponsored by Toyota, and they made him ride around in a car and talk about how cool Toyota is, everything. And he actually did that for the Deadly Class show. The Toyota was a sponsor, and they made him ride around San Francisco talking about his punk roots while riding around in a Toyota.
In a Toyota for a check? What a fucking sellout, man. What a shill. Toyota shill.
Yeah.
Jesus.
In my daughter's language, I was cringed out or cringe is what I felt when I was watching that. So
I'm cringed out having you use that word, man.
It worked then.
Yeah, it does work.
Yeah, well played.
Anybody else reading this one? Guess that's sleeper enough, bro.
And so one thing there, Haas has that channel, Strip Panel Naked. He does an episode on one of these issues that beautifully explains why Wes Craig's art is amazing. I recommend checking that one out when you get a moment on this channel.
All right, sleeper pick. Bearded, what you got?
Well, we keep mentioning Haas, so I'll bring another lettered book by Haas to the table.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going with Mindset.
I love that book, man.
I don't think enough
I was worried it wasn't
people
going to get talked about.
I don't think
So
enough
good.
people are reading Mindset. Apparently, this panel is Zach Kaplan, John Pearson on the art, it's fantastic the way especially in art in issue 3, the way the art flows in such a different style. Haas's lettering is fantastic. The story, if you're not reading Mindset, it basically is this idea of a, Silicon Valley story of these, young college age kids who have this, basically are creating a device that is to help you relax and block out all the stuff of social media and things like that. And they're doing it ironically in an app. And in that process, they've discovered mind control and how then they're utilizing that on the bigwigs of, the tech industry and how they're moving their product into it. It's fantastic. And this story gets into more of the aspect of a murder mystery, not the murder mystery is at the beginning, but how this is starting to take the mystery is starting to take root, because it's one of those like, oh, the character dies at the beginning of the first panel of the first book, and now it's starting to get to how it starts to set up. Man, it is such a good story, and it's again, the artwork works so well for it. And someone said it does remind me a little bit of Department of Truth. It has a unique flow that I feel like can be off-putting to you at first, but man, it really works well.
It is such a cool story. And when you first open it up, you're like, this is a quite verbose book. Jesus Christ. You're like, I don't know, man. And that's in a lot of Zach's books. It can feel very wordy. Like, what's the one that just wrapped up? That was awesome. Metal Society.
Metal
right?
Society. Yep.
But the way that Haas is able to work that all in, it leads you to this visual experience through Pearson's artwork, which I've seen comparisons to Martin Simmons. I think you throw in a dash of David Mack, maybe a little Sienkiewicz or Ashley Wood here and there, and you're doing something experimental with mixed media that I love in the art of this book. The art doesn't get to sing as much as it could because there is a lot of dialogue there, but I'm captivated by it. It's basically a story told from one person's perspective, right? And the dude who's telling us this story is the dude who murdered this guy. So maybe we need to be questioning the idea of like, maybe this is an unreliable narrator or something, but I think the book's fast. I love it. I actually buy every issue because it's one of the ones where I'm like 20 years from now, even if the story no longer feels relevant, I'm going to want to look at this again. The artwork is amazing. I've seen stuff from Pearson. This is next level.
Yep.
For like, this is out of nowhere next level for Pearson. This is good stuff, man.
It's awesome.
No. Yeah.
Anybody else reading it? What do you think, Manny? You got something?
Oh yeah. I love it. I talk about every issue gets a little 60-second reel on the old Instagram. I dig it. I love Pearson's art. I like the page I just flipped to. It's like 9 panels. Every panel is a different style of art, whether the characters are in negative space or they go from hand drawn to photo real to, I mean, it's completely different on every panel.
Who's the colorist, by the way?
The colorist on this one is
Is it John?
It doesn't. It says it's.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
must be
just John.
John.
John's the artist. He has his assist is with Jimmy Savage. Assist.
Okay.
John on it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's phenomenal. The first issue I didn't quite get the feel of because I was like, it's supposed to be a crime thriller, and we're just getting all this backstory about this guy's dickhead realtor parents, right? And then but by issue 2 and 3, it really gels. And I really like that show Silicon Valley, and I understood some of the terms they used in this, which is always a plus for me. I don't know. I kind of dig it. I like how they're falling down this rabbit hole of trying to get their freaking app out on the ground. They're conceding little bits. We're going to zap people just to be able to get the money to do this. And again, it just ties into that unreliable narrator. I mean, we would never shill, not like driving around the Bay Area in a Toyota talking about our punk rock roots or anything like that. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't tell people to go and hit up the Pop Culture Philosophers merch store and pick up the Horror Fest shirt.
That's not shilling, man. We make 50
we
cents
would-
for every shirt sale. So that's not shilling, man.
we
That's
would
not
never
shilling.
we would never do that. You know, and honestly, we wouldn't even take the time to tell you how freaking great the Horror Fest t-shirts are. I mean, just awesome quality. The design work on that shirt is just awesome. I don't know who did this, but this is just a really great high quality shirt. And I'm just you know, but we wouldn't do that. Not on Pop Culture Philosophers. We wouldn't do that. We are the Muppets in this anti-consumerist thing. We wouldn't do that. We just educate you guys on books. All right. We don't try to profit on it and talk about our merch. That never happens. So that being said, great pick. I love Mindset. And yeah.
It's good stuff. Did you flash it enough with the right bright lighting? Like, did we get the electric shock going through the phone? Like,
yeah, the only thing I wanted, you know, that didn't happen was there was no, and be sure to check out popculturephilosophers.com for all your blogs, videos, and official Pop Culture
somebody needs to write a blog.
merch.
We keep saying there are blogs there, and people are like, the last blog's from 3 years ago. It's talking about like Iron Fist. What's going on?
How bad the action was in Iron Fist. Yep.
I'm leaving THG Toys' last blog up because it was introducing people to Moon Knight, and that show was forgettable as shit. So I figured it'll come back around at some point. You know, so
Manny did that t-shirt design, by the way. So appreciate it, brother.
Yep.
Love it. All right. Anybody else got thoughts on Mindset?
Yeah, when you said it was verbose, when it's Zach Kaplan, I don't mind though. Like that dude gets it. I mean, and you know, I remember we talked to I think it was either Dan Waters or Ron V, and we were talking about like, because you know there was a good period of time where you know narration captions just went away, right? And then you know they were bringing them back.
We were talking about verbosity is not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
because he said something like you know, use the tools the best way you can, right? Use all of them. You know, don't get stuck on rules and you know tropes and stuff like that. Use everything you can, and Zach Kaplan's grasp on science is actually really good, and he's really good at describing things, you know, in layman's terms and everything, and that's not easy to do for a lot of that stuff. And he's, I don't know, I love that book, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Zach's going to be on the show one day, man. We just got to get less busy, and we can have more people on the show. Yeah. That's all. Oh man, John doesn't have a wrench. I can't do it here in StreamYard. I have to give you a wrench later. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, Dan Waters, we had that conversation where we're like, it's not the amount of words per page, but how you use them, right? Because like Dan is a little verbose too, okay? Yes, but like, but it works, man. And the only problem I ever had was did Bidikar, was he the one that lettered Arkham City? Right? Was he the one that lettered?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Bro, like we need to get away from this cursive shit, man. Nobody fucking writes in cursive anymore, and it's hard to read, man. Let's be honest.
That one was a little rough.
Yeah, a little rough. The journal entries, man. Like, was that Azrael's journal? No, whatever. Anyway, anybody else got any thoughts on Mindset?
Once again, I feel like y'all have sold me. I read issue 1, didn't love it, but the way that y'all are talking about issues 2 and 3, I'm like, that is a book that I need to get. It sounds like it gets better after issue 1 did seem a little bit wordy for me, and I feel like I'm the first one to say like wordy isn't bad, but it was too wordy for me to like enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's different too, because like when it's in the middle of a stack of 20 to 40 comics, it's a different kind of effect. Right. So yeah. And when I got to read Mindset, I got to read it like on my own, like I got to read it like a month before, you know. And Vault does a really good job of sending out retailers and just me in general, like early looks at shit. By the way, their upcoming horror double feature, I can't remember what it's called. Their Nightfall thing.
Nightfall double feature.
That slaps. Y'all gonna really love that, man. Trust me. That's good shit. Any other thoughts on Mindset? It's a good book. Good pick.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue into obscurity. Jennifer, what you got? Sleeper pick of the last 2 months.
Okay, sleeper pick of the last 2 months. I'll be really surprised, but also really happy if anyone else is reading this. If you couldn't guess, I am a really big fan of stories set in space, and I'm really a big fan of female protagonists. I really love ladies, and I really love space. And if you haven't checked out Space Lady, it is the weirdest. It feels like it should be a zine. It's about this captain who is just she's really just a piece of trash. She's like drunkenly roaming around the galaxy, kind of committing crimes, but also as a like patrol officer. And this stupid humor in this book just absolutely gets me. Let me go ahead and see if I can like the artwork. It's so simple. Like I said, it feels like it should be a zine. But some of the jokes in this, like there's a joke in here where she's kind of being interrogated and someone comes up to her and they're like, hey, space lady. And she's like, don't call me that. That was my mom's name. Call me Space. And it's really stupid humor. Anyways, it's published by Behemoth/Sumerian now. So
yeah, I've read the first issue of Space Lady and really liked it. And then what happened was we only got enough of issue 2 and 3 for the subscribers. So I didn't get a chance to read 2 and 3 yet, but I was rather impressed with issue number 1, even though I wasn't expecting much from it because I was looking, at the artwork. It looks very amateurish, but at the same time, I love this like Brian knows. Brian has to deal with me talking to him about comics all the time. Like as soon as I discovered Power Comics, I was like, bruh, like the more like 13-year-old it looks, the more real it is. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it, man.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's where like the heart comes in, where it's like it knows exactly what it is. It knows that like the main character is a piece of trash, so they don't necessarily have to draw her like sexy and like revealing or anything like that. It's like, no, just let her be who she is, and it's great.
It looks like animation from like a early 90s MTV show or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very like Beavis and Butthead-ish,
Beavis and Butthead or something, right? Like if it was animated, it would be shaky. The Critic or some shit, or not the Critic, but Home Movies. You remember that shit?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, these characters. It's so good. It's
and
delightful.
she always just wants to stay wasted and shit like that. And I can dig on that. Yeah. It's a good comparison. It's a good read to do that, and then Ice Cream Man number 32.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the crossover. Anybody else reading this one?
I did see it on the shelf, and now I regret not picking it up. I did like the cover. I thought it was, I don't know. I'm going to go back and pick it up now. So sounds good.
It stood out, but I didn't get it. Yeah.
If you like, I don't know if anyone is familiar with the publisher Silver Sprocket, who do a lot of zines, and like, if you like anything by Silver Sprocket, I think that you would really like this as well.
Nice. Good pick. Good pick. All right.
Okay.
Sleeper pick for me. This book blew me the fuck away. Apparently, there's already 2 issues that have been kickstarted, but Oni Press is about to republish them or something. Pink Lemonade. Holy cow, y'all. So this book's from Nick Cagnetti, I believe. Yes. Francois Vignault on the lettering, as well as Nick. This book is freaking awesome. So I covered this on the weekly comic book review. The first thing I said about it was it gave me Madman vibes. Like the artwork is pop art. It's psychedelic.
Oh, yeah.
It's super cool.
That's fantastic.
It's about this character named Pink Lemonade. She's this chick on a bike. She doesn't have any memory of her past. Sound familiar, Frank Einstein? And she is now introduced to this new cast of characters. She's got this bike. The bike talks to her. She wears this cool helmet. She's got this mysterious past. She's got a scar on her forehead. Sound familiar, Frank Einstein? This is very much in the vein of Madman. And when I first started reading Madman, it was the Dark Horse stuff, which was not the first stuff that Madman did. By the way, look at this amazing art spread where she meets this woman who has collected this OJ bot. It's like a robot that sold orange juice. She's got this whole room dedicated to all the memorabilia. Look at all of that. So this is someone that loves kitsch culture and pop art. And like I said, lots of Madman references to the point where when I first started reading Madman, there was a history there, a brief history, but I felt a little lost, but I was just instantly plugged into it. I haven't had those vibes until Pink Lemonade. I love this book. I got to get a hold of everything that came before. I think there were like 2 issues or whatnot. Holy cow. I love this book. This book was so fucking good. It was so charming and it was fun. And we always talk about this. Comics can be deep. Comics can be ridiculous. Comics can be psychological. Comics can do so much. But above all, comics should be fun. This is just a fun fucking comic. Everybody needs to read this book. It's amazing. Everybody, Nick Cagnetti needs to be a household name. Anybody else read that one?
I 100% agree. This book it's so fun. It actually, I believe it was originally published by It's Alive Press.
Okay.
They sent me a couple books and that was included in it. But during the pandemic, I think that they just didn't make it. They only published like a handful of other books, and that was one of them. But
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe that Oni, so from what I can gather, this is new content, but Oni is putting out the original content again. So like Oni's got a hold of it, and you know, it's the 25th anniversary of Oni and they need support, right? But this book is freaking awesome. The coloring, the line work, the ink work, like there's even a little bit of screen tone in here. There's the OJ bot, like freaking ad at the end. Like this is OJ bites. They're combos. You see that? They're like combos, but they're orange juice and pretzel. You see that? What the fuck is that? This book is awesome, man. Y'all need to read that, man. So hell yeah. One of my favorite things about this show is we're always selling each other on books. And it's just great, man. Like I said, I've reached out to everybody's LCS person. Oh, by the way, Nick, I met somebody from your shop. They came in and introduced me to them very quickly. I think they like work at the shop that you go to or something, but they were really super cool. So.
Yeah. Yep. I think I talked about that. Yep. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
All right. We're about to wrap up. Rapid fire. What you got, Manny?
Boom. All right. Well, Vanish #1. This was a lot of fun. If I had to write a Harry Potter fanfic with superheroes, that would be it. That was pretty dope. Beware the Eye of Odin is one of my favorites every month that it comes out.
Fantastic finale, man.
So sad, but I'm excited with how it ended. So I'm excited that that we'll hopefully see some more, and hopefully I see Tim at the shop so he can sign that one, so I can get that one signed. Nice House on the Lake 10. This series has been like it's something I'm begrudgingly enjoying every month. Like I buy it and I'm like, fuck, this one again, and then I read it and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. This one did a really good job of ramping up tension towards the end of it. I didn't know who any of the characters were anymore. Yeah. But that's okay because the tension was still good.
That's why they did that shit at the end where they were like, oh, here's all the characters, by the way, in case you forgot. It's been 6 fucking months.
Yep.
I was talking to Chaos about this on Instagram. Like King Spawn is fucking heads and shoulders above most of the shit I read every month. This is awesome.
All these indie fans that love Sean Lewis's indie work, but they would never read a Spawn book. But he's killing it right now on those Spawn books.
I don't need to read that one.
Oh my gosh. And that one was just gorgeous too. I love the way the clown looks in that one. But Creep Show, holy shit, this went hard, bro. I did not realize this was gonna be so brutal and gory and awesome. Even the second story in here, that Shingo, which was more just like a fun story, was still like perfectly in Creep Show universe. Like the first one was like they made me eat this like giant, entree with take one, and then Shingo was just this like fun dessert that I absolutely adored. And then End After End is awesome to me. I love the idea of having a second chance to be the person that you weren't in life. I like that idea. It hits me on those what dreams may come kind of feels where it's like I
thought you said wet dreams may come.
I heard
that's exactly what I heard.
I may have said that. I don't know.
I didn't get that.
Dreams.
There's slurring.
I think you downloaded the wrong movie, Manny.
Well, where's the timestamp
so
for? Because Manny wants some clips. So
absolutely, I need that one. I need that one. So guys, this was so damn. This was a good 2 months. It was a very long 2 months, but it was a very good 2 months. So
hell yeah,
great books.
Hell yeah. All right, Nick, rapid fire.
I guess maybe I should have led with this one with the obscure ones, but we have Keen Spot Kid Slapshot #1. It was a fun, interesting little book. This one was on my radar for just a little while because for a few months now, because it was like this weird superhero hockey player kid, and I was like, totally, that was me growing up. And so, what a cool little ride!
You're a superhero hockey kid.
I
growing
was.
Up?
I was.
didn't know
I grew up in Buffalo. We're all superhero
My secret
hockey kids.
identity. Jesus Christ, man.
But it's also got this cool like pin up in the middle. It's got this cool like little poster in the middle too. But it's really fun. It's basically just like a little rip off of Fantastic Four. There's like a Watcher. There's like a Galactus figure in here. It's very really comedic. It's just really fun. So kid slapshot. Something I was looking forward to, and it really kind of delivered. It's just like one of those fun books that we were talking about before. That it's like a nice little palate cleanser between some of this heavy stuff. I gotta admit, Chip's Batman is really fun right now. It's super high paced, tons of energy. Oh my god, the art in here, Hoyer Mendez, just insane artwork. The story is really fun. There's some deep cuts in here for long-term Batman fans. Well, from my perspective, long-term Batman fans. And
right.
yeah, and it's just really, really fun. Super fast paced. It jumped right into the action, and so I'm loving that. We talked about Zach Kappa earlier. We have Metal Society just actually ended recently. What a great book this was. Again, it's really we called it overly verbose, but it reads really, really smoothly, so you don't really notice that. It ended, I think, just how it should have ended, so I wasn't disappointed at all. Sometimes you get these books, you read the first few issues, and it's like you didn't quite nail the landing. I think they did a really good job at the ending of this one.
Great ending, man.
And then the last one I'm going to cover real quick is Rogues Gallery, issue number 2. Hannah Rose May. Rogues Gallery is a really, really fun book. Issue number 2 was interesting because it kind of flipped the narrative a little bit. Issue number 1 kind of portrayed this villain character. They were kind of blaming her for ruining the whole franchise that they love. They hold near and dear to their heart. It's like if everyone teamed up and went after like Scarlett Johansson because she sucked that Black Widow. I don't think she did, but if that's kind of the story, and then
it's like, what if Kathleen Kennedy played?
What if Kathleen Kennedy ruined Star Wars? Or whatever. So, but yeah, we're in a cool little book here. Lots of different angles. The story changes every issue. It's really fun. 3 issues out now. So, yeah, that's rapid fire.
Good rapid fire, man. Good rapid fire. What about you, Brian? What you got?
Okay. Well, got another Zach Kaplan book here, Breakout. I'm really digging this one as well. It's kind of a crime caper thing, but they're really, they're trying to break out their family and everything. And it does take a pretty good turn in this one too. And it's more Zach Kaplan greatness. So I don't know, really digging this one. Then Barbaric has come back. This is the second series. There was a one shot before this one too. Highly recommend that one, but absolutely love this series. I'm not as I've gotten older, I'm not as much into the fantasy thing, but this one just hits on all cylinders. I mean, it's got really great snappy dialogue and compelling story, and it's got a talking axe.
Issue 2 of Axe to Grind might be the best issue Barbaric yet, bro.
Actually, yeah, I actually meant to grab 2 instead of 1. I actually like the second one better. It was really dang good. And then I showed this one earlier, but yeah, Above Snakes 3. It's just awesome that Haas has a cover. So
yeah.
And then another Rick Remender book,
bit, right? Hayden drew the little dudes at the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Here's another Rick Remender book. I really did like Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, primarily because of Andre Lima. I can't pronounce his last name, but the art in this is just absolutely fabulous. And I mean, they're not like silent issues necessarily, but there's not a whole lot of dialogue in these. But you can clearly tell everything that's going on, and it's a really good, kind of revenge tale. I mean, the title tells you everything, and it's really good. And then Manny put up Beware the Eye of Odin. We interviewed those guys and just fell in love with them. And this book was just every issue just hit it out of the park, and absolutely love it. And then this is one of my favorite ongoing series, Once and Future. I think this is the penultimate issue. I think the next one is the last one.
Yeah.
I actually liked the previous one a little better because I love the reveal in that one. But I don't know. I love these mythology driven in the real world kind of stories, and this just takes it up to another level. It's Kieran Gillen, I don't know, and with Dan Mora and Tamara on the art. I mean, this is a visually stunning book too. I mean, you talk about color choices. Like, I mean, you could probably see this book from 50 feet away. Some of these colors. I mean, it's just so bright.
Yeah.
And then Mind Management has come back for a 4-issue series. This is number 3. This is one of my favorite series of all time, and Matt Kent just hits it out of the park every time. And this one, each one is a different artist, and this one's David Rubin, who he did that Cosmic Detective with, and he did Ether. And so those guys just, I don't know, they hit it out of the park. And then someone else brought up Batman. If you put Batman of Zur-En-Arrh in anything, I'm gonna go crazy. That's one of my favorite things from the Grant Morrison run, and I actually have the first appearance of Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. It's a really, really funny story. But yeah, I kind of fall for anything that Chip Zdarsky also comes out. So I mean, my favorite book of Marvel right now is Daredevil, even though I wish it would go a little faster. But anyway,
could you imagine Rom V and Martin Simmons on Daredevil?
I could imagine it, and I would totally buy it. I mean, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Would be awesome. I mean, I love the current team, but yeah, that would be amazing. So, and then last one I got is another Batman book. This is Ron V's Detective Comics. Also, because the backup story in this is Steve Spurrier, but Danny artwork, and the coloring is by again Dave Stewart. I think the coloring in the by Dave Stewart Incorporated. But yeah, part of it, like the colors in this are just absolutely breathtaking. In this, and even in that backup story, which basically just covers, it's dealing with Gordon after he's retired, and I don't know, fantastic stuff in this one. So,
oh yeah,
hell yeah, man! You took a couple of my rapid fires, but that's okay. We'll allow it. We'll allow it. Greg, what you got?
Taken a couple from you.
Okay, bro.
Y'all have taken a handful of my rapid fires, so I'm going to try and keep it fresh. I am shocked that no one talked about that yet. Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler, Tom King, Mitch. It was a great start to the series. Two-Face was not as good as this one, but man, The Riddler was it's so good. I don't even spend time talking about it, because if you know, you know. Grimm, I'm still really digging this series by Stephanie Phillips. This is issue 4 that came out. The process of trying to figure out dealing with death and Grim Reaper stuff, and how they're crossing over into the real world, and why that happens. Nightwing, I mean, come on. It's been fantastic still.
God damn it, Greg. Shit.
Well, I'm not done, so I'm gonna take a couple more from your rapid fire. So
that Nightwing that's like so good. That's one of the best issues yet, man.
It's so freaking good, and like I'm just blown away by what they're dealing with Blockbuster, and and how that transpired, and the whole dynamic between Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson in this, and man. Another one that
artwork in that is so freaking amazing,
God.
and the coloring.
Redondo.
That's how you color a comic. Marvel, pay attention. Sorry.
Another one you're fine. Another one from Dark Horse. Only one issue, but I loved it so far. Minor Threats. Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom. They co-wrote this concept of you have villains that are trying to hunt for a villain who basically killed the Robin to the Batman in this universe, and all the superheroes are coming down on the villains because they're like, well, the Batman character is about to do some stuff that's going to put us all in a bad light. And so they're cracking on the villains, and the villains are kind of like, well, we just need to find this person and kill them before they mess up our dynamic we have going on. A lot of fun, really cool concept. AWA Absolution. Such a fun book. If you're anything AWA is, we talked about Peter Milligan already. This idea of you have people who are basically have the death penalty, and they have to then go out, and it's almost like that really bad Gerard Butler gamer movie.
Could you imagine Ron V and Christian Ward on Super Pro? Like, that would be so good.
Who speaking my language. But it's just been really cool of televising. It's, they televise the kill shots, and people kind of like vote. They like your rankings or not. And you have to kind of, it's a concept that's been done before, but I really like the way that it's formatted in this one. And the last I'm going to leave is an Image book. I'm so glad this series is back. We're talking about Shirtless Bear Fighter #2.
Oh gosh.
I thought that was a book about you, bro. To be honest with you.
Number one.
I mean,
Number one was so good. Number two was
it's so good. It's not going to live up to number one. It hasn't, but dear Lord, this is so much fun. So,
gosh, those gummy bears, man. God, I was laughing. I very rarely I wait for Tiff to read and then we discuss. I spoiled the hell out of Shirtless Bear because I was reading it in the car and I'm like, you got to see this. Our children are in the back seat. I don't know how safe this was, but I'm shoving it and I'm like, look at this. This is so funny. But yeah, that was Shirtless Bear Fighter.
So there's my rapid fire. So I don't see any
Nice.
more from you, Robbie.
I don't like to shit on anybody's picks, and I'm not. I'm just gonna say maybe I need to reread Riddler One Bad Day. I thought that book was terrible, so maybe I need to check that out again.
Oh no,
I didn't like
you
the Two-Face
read
one
the
either.
Two-Faced one.
Yeah,
I did
either of
not. I
them.
did not like the Two-Face one, but I really dug the Riddler one.
Okay, super.
But I'm a
I
sucker.
love
I'm
the
a sucker
artwork
for Riddler.
for the most part.
I'm a sucker for Riddler, and I also I like a lot of what Tom King. I'm in the Tom King camp.
I hate this whole thing where they're like the Riddler can kill any of us at any moment, and he's proven it. So we're all gonna just fucking be so scared. Batman and Gordon, they're so scared of the Riddler now. Like, really? Fucking Riddler, man. The fucking Riddler, man. Is the Riddler. Okay. I'm glad you like it though. I really do. I'm excited to check out more. I'm the most excited for the Catwoman one right now, which is Jamie McKelvey.
Who's the team?
Jamie McKelvey and G. Willow Wilson. And I think that's going to be a really Jamie McKelvey on a Catwoman book. Holy shit. And I think it's Howard Porter and Josh Williamson on the Bane one. And I'm like, Bane needs some respect put back on his name. And I think that's the team that can do it. Yeah.
See, I'm looking
Williamson
forward
Porter's
to
so good.
Clayface and Mr. Freeze because I feel like those are two villains that could be really cool stories.
Yeah, they could be. I'm looking forward to reading all of these, but so far I have been a little let down. But Tom King is really hit or miss. And somebody, by the way, we're all checking on Chip Zdarsky. Somebody check on Tom King. Just make sure he's okay. Anyway, Jennifer, what you got? Rapid fire.
Okay. Surprisingly, only like 2 or 3 have been taken out of my pile, even though I'm almost going last. But okay, so a little book called Little Red Ronin came out. This one is really adorable. It feels like if Peach Momoko was writing like a little samurai story. It's really cute. It gets really violent, and I like it a lot. It's published by Source Point Press.
I hear lots of good things about that book. So.
It's adorable. Okay, next one. I'm going to go with Stuff of Nightmares, published by Boom. This one was like if Reanimator, this feels, so it's R.L. Stine from Goosebumps, and it's like he rewrote Reanimator. I don't know if that was intentional, but it was really good, very spooky. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Nice Reanimator reference. You're right there. I didn't pick that up, but you're right. You're right.
Another one, this one is published by Aftershock, and it's Samurai Doggy. Once again, another really cute one where we get that anthropomorphic type animal. Issue number 2, so issue 1 obviously came out earlier, but issue 2 doesn't feature the Samurai Doggy until like the last page, but what it ends up doing is setting up the world that Samurai Doggy lives in, and kind of like his villain. So I really enjoyed this book. Another book that I've really been I don't think that I've really talked about Marvel or DC at all. But one of my favorite DC books right now is Poison Ivy by G. Willow Wilson and Marcio Takara. Poison Ivy is basically going on a murder rampage across the U.S., spreading fungal spore infection, and it's killing people. And I just love
it's her retirement tour, right?
It is.
It's her last retirement tour. I absolutely love it because she's also having these heartbreaking moments, thinking about her love for Harley Quinn, even though she breaks up with Harley Quinn at the very beginning of this. So it's really, really good, and I really like it. And I'm going to
describe. Gorgeous too.
It is a good book.
It's
and
really
the artwork in the newest one had some truly horrific moments that was just amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen the artwork on Felix's page. That it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Another book that I just continually love, and that's Nita Ha's Nightmare Blog. It's a spinoff from Rodney Barnes's Philadelphia series. If you like horror, you like monsters, and if you like the idea of like a monster hunting podcast type thing, investigating like true crime serial killer podcast, I think that you would like this book. And Rodney Barnes is just absolutely amazing. Another book that I didn't like issue 1, but I picked up issue 2 and read it this week is Heart Eyes, published by Vault. I really wasn't sure how I was going to feel about issue 2. Went in with low expectations and really loved Heart Eyes a lot. It gets
issue 2 was great.
It was. Cool. It gets Lovecraftian, where I wish that this had been the first issue. If this had been the first issue, I think more people would be talking about it. So if you read issue 1 or issue 1 didn't excite you, please pick up issue 2, or maybe even just start here. I don't know, because it was good. They
do this totally unfair thing that was totally awesome at the same time, where they make a big, like, something major happens to one of the main characters from the first issue. And you're like, what's going on? And then they just go, oh, now we're going to show you the backstory. And you're like, no, show us what's going on. But then you get so engrossed in it. And like maybe structurally they could have done, but the artwork in that one is freaking fantastic. It's some of the best art I've seen in a Vault comic in a while, actually.
Yeah. Please pick this one up because it's really good. Okay, another one that I do not feel like is talked about enough. It just ended, but Flavor Girls. It is published by Archaea, which is a Boom Studios imprint. But it's basically like Sailor Moon fighting kaiju. Like if Akira meets Sailor Moon, anyways, it's really good. If you like anime, this is definitely, if you have a maybe young person in your life that you're like, I want to get them into comics, and maybe they like anime or manga and they don't read a lot of comics, I think this would be a really good series for them to check out and try, because I really liked it. Golden Rage, published by Image Comics, is like Golden Girls meets Fight Club meets what am I trying to say? Battle Royale, maybe. Yeah. I'm getting vibes from. I really like it. It's fun. Granny's just attacking,
kicking ass and talking shit.
Yep.
Talking shit. Okay, last one. This one was published this week, and I think this one's my favorite issue from this week, and that's Flawed by Chuck Brown and Frenzy. That's
book.
it. It is. So this she's a therapist, and she ends up hearing a story told by one of her clients, and then she goes out and murders the person that they're talking about. And it's stunning. I really loved this book this week. My pick of the week for this week. That's
kinetic artwork too in that. It's really a frenzy of artwork. It's really good. It's really good.
Forensic. Yes. If all this murder and blood doesn't sell it to you, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I really like that one. I was surprised. I was really surprised.
Not the only number one I didn't get, and apparently that's the best one of the number ones that came out this past week.
Well, I don't know, man. Okay, well, for my rapid fire, a number one that came out this week I really liked was Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Usually you bring in a celebrity to do a comic book and they don't know how to write a comic. Bruce Campbell knows how to write a comic. So it was cool. Plus the artwork was great. And it's Sergeant Rock versus Nazi zombies. We've already established you can do whatever the fuck you want to Nazi zombies. So we're cool with that. To continue, Public Domain. We were talking about Chip Zdarsky. I love that book. He's working for Marvel and DC right now, and he is throwing them to the fire in Public Domain right now. And I love that. I love that. Like, I think it's amazing. True Cult from our friend Liana Kangas. And was it Brian Scott Wilson, I think is the writer? Is that right, Brian?
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Scott Brian Wilson.
Scott Brian Wilson, yeah. True Cult's amazing. Me and Brian got to hang out with Liana a little bit and Jaslyn a little bit this weekend. Super fun people. Liana's one of our favorite people in the industry. And no surprise that we love her book there. And if you've ever had a shitty job, read True Cult and it will resonate with you 100%. Mm-hmm. Sword of Azrael. Dan Waters is doing a hell of a job with Sword of Azrael. We were talking about the religious themes, right? And he's dealing, I don't know if Dan has a religious background, maybe because he was into punk rock and a lot of people that were into punk as teens, like it seems like they have like this religious, almost Catholic background maybe. I guess for his case, it may be Church of England. I don't fucking know. Maybe we should ask Dan if we ever have him on the show again. But he is able to take the conflict that happens eternally or internally when you are like a believer in a faith wholeheartedly and resolutely, and it's fucking with him. It's dealing with the religious programming that's been put into him and how he like tries to rectify that with just the sense of being a good person. I think Sword of Azrael is really good. Aquaman Andromeda #2. Christian Ward, Ron V doing an Aquaman book. I'm gonna fucking love it. So there you go. Let's see. Dark Spaces Wildfire. We mentioned it briefly, but that book gets better and better. Holy fucking shit. Scott Snyder is a verbose writer, right? Hayden Sherman is an amazing talent here in the industry. And I cannot remember now who colors this, but the colors are amazing. It gets better and better. This is the cleanest Hayden's work has ever been. It's not scratchy. It's not blocky. It is perfectly like this is the most Mobius I've seen him do or them do, right? Like 100%. You got the colors for me, Greg?
Yeah. Rhonda Pattinson.
Rhonda's doing an amazing job there. Yep. Holy shit. It's amazing. Yep. Batman versus Robin #1. A really solid first issue. First of all, spoilers, Alfred's back. Thank God. Thank the gods Alfred's back. Mark Waid knows what to do. And recent thing has come out. Mark Waid is now being dubbed the DC architect, meaning that maybe he's in charge of like how the stories are going. And you know what? I think that's cool. Guess what? We got to meet Mark Waid this week.
Yes.
This is my second time meeting him. It's super cool.
It's great
and
news.
Yeah, really cool. I know Mark Waid's the coolest.
Yeah.
Vanish #1 is the best 90s image launch that we never got until just now. I fucking love it. Ryan Stegman's artwork is blowing me away. I thought the story seemed kind of boring at first, but then it really kind of hooked me in with this whole idea of superheroes that are like actually bad guys, but he's trying to be he's the one hero, but he's got to be the bad guy to do it. And the artwork was amazing. Reminded me of The Darkness. Really did. I love Ryan Stegman. Exterminators #1. I got to highlight this because I have never read a Leah Williams comic that I loved. I fucking loved Exterminators. This book was so much fucking fun. Now, they do this whole thing where they're like, this is a transgressive book with partial nudity. I scoured this book. There's no partial nudity there. Okay. They're lying. I didn't see a single ass cheek or nothing. However, Boom Boom can get it in this fucking, I'm telling you, the book is fun. The book is great. And that's the energy, the flavor, and the vibe that we need to see more out of Marvel. That book was awesome. Bloodshot Unleashed. Dennis Camp, John Davis Hunt, Jordy Belair, Hassan Osman El Howe. If you haven't read Bloodshot Unleashed, shame. Not only is Valiant struggling, they need you to pick up this book. They're banking on this book, and it's incredibly good. It's amazing. I got it right here. Hold on. Violent, incredible, and oh my God, the artwork is amazing. John Davis Hunt does action sequences like nobody else except for maybe like Jeff Darrow or Ibrahim Mustafa. Whenever you see these like 20 panel pages, Dennis wants us to know that John Davis Hunt decided to do that himself. Like, it is absolutely brilliant. This book is great. If you like good, solid action comics, action movies, you definitely got to check that out. Crashing, #1 from Matthew Klein from
that was good.
IDW was really good. Like, I was not expecting much out of it. It was great. You could think of it like ER meets superheroes, but it goes deeper than that. Really like that. Hell is a Squared Circle. That was the pick of the week. Another wrestling comic, another badass wrestling comic. And I want to wrap it up with, nope, that's where I wanted to wrap it up. Hell is a Squared Circle. So that's my rapid fire. Hell yeah, I'm glad you liked it, Spilio.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, I don't, and maybe that's me, like, as good as Hell as a Squared Circle is, it's like my third favorite wrestling book of the year.
Right?
And I don't think I like
we got Crimson Cage, we got to do a Powerbomb.
Like, if you're a wrestling fan and you like comics, like, this is like the year for you.
Yeah, those are crazy good books.
Hell yeah, good books. I'm glad everybody likes Exterminators, man. And you know, what's crazy is that the week before Exterminators came out, I got called a Marvel hater because I was really harsh on Marvel that week. And then I had a drunken ramble about Marvel, which is I've actually clipped out. It's going to be debuting on the channel tomorrow morning. So if you ever want to see Robbie's really drunk on whiskey, like rambling and ranting about why he doesn't like Marvel right now. So there you go. So I'm
You
really
said if.
Yeah,
You said if.
I'm
We
really
all
looking-
want to see that.
I'm really looking forward to the comments on that one. But
I'm gonna drink whiskey while I watch it.
You should 100%. But the very next week, because I gave Exterminators a fucking great review, I got called a shill, a Marvel shill. So I went from being called a
It's
Marvel
either one or
hater
the other.
to a Marvel shill.
You can only be one or the other, Robbie.
By the same person, probably.
I know.
Yeah,
I
I was being a
really
dick.
silly. It was shitting on Legacy, man. I knew it. Don't act like you're not a Marvel hater. No, I'm not a Marvel hater. Come on, y'all. Maybe right now I whatever. Sure. You want to label me that? That's fine. My favorite comic book ever of all time is Fantastic Four, but it's cool. Anyway, that's what we got. Chaos says, Robbie, you're just a regular shield. Thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate that. We should have we got to have you back. We actually have you back. You haven't been on yet. You were supposed to be on last time, but you anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
We're done.
It's probably for the best, Robbie.
It might be.
Oh,
I'll show you a real obscure comic. God damn it!
No, but the problem is Chaos can't do this show because he doesn't get his books for a month and a half out. So I guess he could do this. He could have talked about the August books this month.
Yeah, he could have done that. Nah, Chris is a cool dude, man. I really like him.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for being here. You need to subscribe to all of these fine people here. There are links in the description below. They're also friends of the channel. Y'all check out all of their like incredibly elaborate and introspective and on the point and keen reviews and thoughts on comics, except for Manny.
Yeah, no,
Except
don't
for
check
Manny.
that out.
don't check his
Please-
shit out.
please
Just
don't.
buy his t-shirt designs that he does for us.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, man. You're a
We
good
would
dude.
never-
Manny,
we don't shill. We
Manny,
don't
final
shill
thoughts.
at all.
final thoughts, man.
Oh, final thoughts. If you guys are interested in learning about pressing, cleaning, just seeing really good hauls with really awesome takes on the books and giving great reasons for why they buy them, not just holding books up in rapid fire like I do, but really getting into the meat and potatoes of why they buy what they buy, how they deal with their comics, handle their comics. Check out Taki 616 over on YouTube. Go sub him up. Taki's Tales is quickly becoming one of my favorite things to watch. I cannot wait to watch it. It actually dethroned Nick at Night last weekend. I had to catch up on Taki's Tales. So
I don't blame you.
definitely
Good call.
go check him out for real.
Hell yeah.
Taki 616.
Taki for sure, because I was like, you sure ain't as shit talking about your channel, brother.
No, I never talk about my
if he gets
channel.
to subscribe to every one of these people, I'll go ahead and say it. Fuck, I'm a Marvel hater. Shit, I'm a Marvel hater. I'm a DC hater. I hate all kinds of comics. Equal opportunity. If I don't like a comic, I'll let you know. That's
we
the
never
way-
read any of these, by the way. We just made it up.
Yeah,
all
we're just making
tonight.
this shit up. Speaking
we
of making it up,
Fuck comics.
Nick, final thoughts. Fuck comics. I love
read the
We're just doing this for the money, bro.
I just picked what cover I liked and tried to talk about the book.
Yeah, Batman. Yeah. So, yeah, always a pleasure being on, man. Thank you so much for having us on here. I always leave with like a laundry list of books that I just didn't have any time to read, or maybe I just missed. So I really appreciate everybody showing some stuff that I haven't read, and it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you having me on as always. Thanks so much.
You can't say shit like that, Chris. You're gonna get me fucking flagged, man. You can't fucking do that, man. You better fucking say JK.
This is why I tell
JK.
you can't have them
JK.
on. I'm telling you, you're risking it.
I just remember one time we were doing a show with Dylan. We were just doing some bullshit, and Dylan started saying some shit about the riots in Portland at the time. It's in 2020, right? And then he said some shit, and Chaos just goes, "So I take it from your last statement that your dad's a Republican?" Fuck it, it was great. Anyway, I did review Black Widow. God damn it. I really liked Kelly Thompson's first arc, but I just didn't like it after that. God damn it. Wait. I like Punisher. I like Thunderbolts. I like Marvel.
Variance is awesome.
Man, whatever. Variance is okay.
Variance is good, Robbie. Come on, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. All right.
Hey, I got a
You
link
fucking-
for
you liked this one this
which one is
month.
that?
Fucking ASM. All right.
I really
You liked
did
that
actually.
one. Yeah, you did.
And it was an axe tie-in,
You
man.
know?
Like one of my favorite things, because before I put this drunken ramble out, on me on Marvel. I needed to rewatch it just to make sure I didn't say anything really like bad, because there was a couple of times where maybe like I shared too much information. But one of my favorite things was I was like, they got this Avengers X-Men Eternals fucking crossover. Why? So they can say it's called X, because they think that's fucking cool. They're not. That's not cool. Brian, final thoughts. Thank you for being here, man. You did great for your first time here, man.
Thanks. I had a whole lot of fun, and it was great talking to everybody. Yeah, I got some titles written down to go grab. I was thinking about, I know Robbie, you and I talked the other day about like I've been looking at the past couple of years as kind of a golden age of comics, and you pointed out that like some of the the bigger, the big two aren't exactly the best, and those need to be the best to really be a golden age, and I do agree with that. But when I was trying to winnow down this list just to get like 5 to 10 rapid fire ones, it's just, that was really hard. And that was kind of what I mean is like, there's like, if there's, I can't imagine if, it's possible you couldn't find a comic book you wanted. I mean, there's like, I don't know, there's 60, 70 different titles that come out a month. Every genre is covered. You just gotta keep your eyes open and look.
60 or 70 that come out a month? Is that what you're saying?
There's just this many Axe tie-ins over the last 2 months. You could just pick from this. This is all everything tied
There's
into
60 variants for every Dynamite title that it comes out.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
I got a friend. I got a buddy. Y'all probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But I got a buddy who's doing a Dynamite book right now. He's editing one, and he goes, all they care about is variants. They don't give a shit what I do with the story. They're like, they're just like, who's going to do all the variants? But they work. Like being a retailer, there are people that go, I want every Vampirella cover. I want every Red Sonja cover. And I'll tell you what, I got an early look at all the Gargoyles covers. I want every single fucking one of them. They're fucking dope, man. Dynamite does some good covers. And I'm not just saying that because I work with them. I'm not a Dynamite shill.
You're a Dynamite shill?
Maybe just a little bit, but not too much.
Well, I'll also then just tell you you're a Dynamite hater afterwards, so don't worry.
Yes, exactly. He's like, what, you don't like fucking Lady Hell anymore? What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, Greg, thank you for being here. Final thoughts?
Man, no, yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun to just talk about comics. I feel like I haven't gotten to do that for a while, so it was good to be back reading comics, talking comics, and yeah, if you like interviews, I do a lot of interviews. Just had one with Stuart Moore on Monday. Nice. And then I got one with John Zerplatin, who has a book from Image Top Cow dropping next Wednesday called Revolvers, which I think y'all will dig. And I just make content with my family. So, yeah, check it out.
Hell yeah. And you made the banana sausage pizza.
We did, because of you. You asked that.
So good, man. Like, dude, I gotta get up. You're in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
I got to get up there, and you got to make that pizza, man.
You come, we caramelize the bananas on it, and you were like, "Ooh, sausage and banana, man! The flavors, the sweet and savory, it hits."
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, speaking of sausages and bananas, I don't know, Jennifer. What do you think? Final thoughts?
Speaking of sausages and bananas, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a minute since I've gotten to hang out with you, and it's been a minute since Greg and I have gotten to hang out. We used to do like a weekly show, and I miss it a lot. So if you didn't say that Greg was going to be here, I probably wasn't going to be. No, I'm just kidding. So thank you for letting me be here. I do a little weekly show with my friend Mars where it's a lot of fun. She's truly the better half of the show, and I just love her a lot. But if you like the type of like food reviews, like there's taste, there's smell, there's presentation, but if you really appreciate the like type of review of food that's like the mouthfeel portion, but you wish you had that for comics, I would say that's my channel. Is like mouthfeel for comics, speaking of sausage and bananas. So thank you.
Hell yeah, there you go. No, it's a great show. The was it Casually Comic
Sunday Chat? Yeah, over on Comics Will Break Your Heart. Yep,
absolutely fantastic. Links in the description below to all of these fine people. Great stuff. My final thoughts are this: I picked a Marvel book tonight, albeit published and produced by Abrams Comics Art. So there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, great show tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. Tomorrow night, join us for Horror Fest as it continues on Dylan's Horror Show. We talk about dog soldiers. And then on Monday night, the winner of the PCP Army Movie Poll Horror Fest 2022 edition, Green Room. This movie was awesome. If you want to see some Nazi skinhead fucks just get wrecked, check this out. But they also wreck some people themselves. But it's a really cool movie starring Patrick Stewart. Blew me away. I actually really like this movie. I'm excited to talk about it. And I'll be doing my Memphis Comic Expo Hall and report on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. All right, we're dipping out. Thank you all so much for being here. We're gonna end with the Horror Fest teaser because I just love it so much. Isn't that right, man?
You guys should have a shirt for it.
What was that? What was that? Do that again. What was that?
Do you guys have a Horror Fest shirt?
Yeah, we've got this amazing shirt right here. PCP Horror Fest 2022. You know you want to let people know you were there. All right. When it comes to t-shirts, it's very important that people know that you watch Dylan's Horror Show and Pop Culture Philosophers. It really is a status symbol nowadays, and you don't want to miss out. You want to be cool. All the other kids are doing it, Greg, and you should too. So make sure that you get your Horror Fest t-shirt. The design is inspired by Marvel Comics. This is what they're doing to the hobby with their shitty paper quality and shittier writing. So fuck Marvel Comics. So right there. Yeah, it's good, man. That's good. Yeah. My favorite thing about that shirt is that Dylan's logo is smaller than mine. Dylan's logo. Dylan was nice enough to have a logo that's designed to fit on shit. That yours is so square. It's so square. But
fuck you, I'm not a square.
That being said, indie comics for life. That's all I do. That's all I know. Fuck Marvel. I don't even know what a DC is other than a place on the East Coast. And it's even named after that evil fucking place, so fuck DC too. It's all about Image Comics. You know what? Fuck it. Image Comics is getting too big too. Look, this whole thing right here is just image books. So fuck them too. AWA Upshot, Oni Press for life. And exactly.
Love you guys. Pop, pop, boom. Shit. Jesus.